Well, her name's Rock Chalk. She's the talk of the town. With her German Shepherd duo always sniffing around. Smith and Wesson by her side, they ain't just for show. They're the muscle when she's hustling, solving crime on the go. She's got her boots in the dirt, she's cracking the case. A true crime queen with a smirk on her face. Loves her country rap bumping, got that twang in that beat. You mess around with her, you're in for a treat. Oh, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got a badge and a sassy attitude to boot. Kicks down doors like she's in hot pursuit. Smith and Wesson bark, don't you dare run. She's the queen of the scene, yeah, she gets it done. Country rap on the radio, she's cruising the street. From the city to the sticks, she's the one to meet. Her motto's real simple, don't try no bluff. Mess around all you want, but you'll find out quick enough. Whoa, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto, and she's living the dream. Rock Chalk out. Hey! She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto, and she's living the dream. Rock Chalk out.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully everybody is doing good. I see Mama Lost Rhonda made it in here. Deb C's in here. Jay's in here. Beach Baby, how you feeling? I know you've been down and out, stuck in the bed. Hopefully you're doing better. Hopefully this is a sign that you're up and around. Hey, Robin. Let's see here. I've seen that Hawkeyes was here earlier. Should be back. First off, I'm gonna play this high-speed chase that I saw the other day. I want you guys to see it if you haven't seen it. I was watching it live. It's crazy. DB case out of California, and the suspect had shot the police officer in the head, and the police officer ended up dying. But anyway, so it was all across the scanners. The eye in the sky was up, and it was a wild chase. Definitely a wild chase. So we're going to play it real quick while we're letting everybody get in here. Good evening, good evening. Then we're going to go over the preliminary. We're going to go over Cora Twombly's testimony. But here we go. I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to let them talk at the beginning. Then I'm going to get closer to where that what happens to the motorcycle. And then when it's done, I'll tell you what exactly happened there. Here we go.
We were over by Victoria Gardens. I don't have the exact address. Actually, I do have the exact address because I thought it was fake. 12346 Hollyhock Drive. Deputy involved shooting. Deputy was shot. Don't know that deputy's condition, but there was a huge standoff happening in that area. They locked it down. They were looking for that suspect, and then this guy, apparently the suspect, bails out of that condominium area, and it was on and cracking. They were on, I believe it was Day Creek, this vehicle going on the wrong way on most of the ride up to the freeway from Victoria Gardens. If you don't know where Victoria Gardens is, you're clearly not a local, but that is a huge mall out here in the Rancho Cucamonga area. Now you can see in front of that motor.
A highway patrol motorcycle officer also tried to take this motorcycle out. He tried to pit maneuver from his motorcycle to this one, trying to take it out. Let's see here. Anyway, the guy starts digging on his motorcycle while he's being chased by the police, and he don't have his hands on the handlebars, and he's digging in his backpack, which now we know was for a weapon, his gun. And when you see what happens here, it's crazy. And then we'll get started with Cora Twombly. I'm skipping through the chase that went on for a while. Here we go.
With the way they're handling that motorcycle.
Now, if you look, he don't have his hands on the wheel. He's got his backpack. He reached around the back, got his backpack, and he's digging in it. He's digging in this backpack. And now we know he was digging for his gun.
Motorcycle, but that doesn't mean that this is any kind of safe. Right now, it looks like he's, whoa! That's exactly what I was talking about.
Okay, you see that? Wow. So come to find out, the guy in this vehicle that this motorcycle hits is an off-duty police officer, and he had the scanner on. And you'll see he purposely goes over in that lane to stop that motorcycle. Again, this guy on the motorcycle had just shot and killed a police officer.
Not on our cameras. You can see this rider clearly is very comfortable with the way they are handling that motorcycle, but that doesn't mean that this is any kind of safe. Right now, it looks like he's.
See where that yellow line is? You can see when I was showing it to Rick yesterday, I said, whoever's in that car, he's purposely going to the side to cut him off. Rick said, no, probably trying to get pulled over because of the police. Anyway, it's pretty good. Hey, Marco, it's good to see you. Good to see everybody. Anyway, that's a pretty good police chase. I'm going to play it one more time. That was nuts. And he did live. He's in the jail now. They also hauled him off in the sheriff helicopter. Hey, guys.
He is very comfortable with the way they are handling that motorcycle, but that doesn't mean that this is any kind of safe. Right now, it looks like he's. Whoa! That's exactly what I was talking about.
Exactly what he was talking about. Anyway, the guy on the motorcycle lived, but yeah, he was digging in his backpack, and then they showed the gun, which is close to his helmet. Anyway, he ends up living. So, okay, we're going to get started. It's good to see everybody. Oh, that was crazy. Mark, good to see you. I met Mark over in the country rap stuff over there. It's good to see you. The case we got here is Veronica Butler, Jillian Kelly. They were reported missing. Veronica was going to pick up her children from Kansas, was going over to Oklahoma. It's all in the panhandle there. And they ended up missing. And we were boots on the ground looking for Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Well, come to find out, the grandma of the kids had the kids. Dad was in rehab. And on Saturdays, Veronica was allowed custody or visitation with her children as long as she had a supervisor there to supervise the visitation. As everybody knows, but I'm going to say it again because there's new people in here. There was at the very beginning, and actually I'm just so I'm not saying it, I'm going to play it. We'll play it. At the beginning, there was SA. We was told that the grandkids was being SA'd by the mother's brother. And so I'm trying to find the one with Tiffany's old attorney that talked. Let me see if this is it. Anyway, it comes up in the preliminary hearing too, and I'm going to go over that with you. Don't go into full details. But anyway, we know that DHS did some investigations and come up with some substantiated claims, and it never went anywhere. And digging deep, I'm going to tell you why it didn't go anywhere. Okay. It didn't go anywhere because the custody battle was going on the Oklahoma side. Hey, Lace Vidum, good to see you. It was, anyway, the custody battle was going on the Oklahoma side in the Oklahoma courts. Okay. But where they was doing the sexual allegations and DHS was in doing the case and going over it was in Kansas. And so even though that case was found to be substantiated, nothing was done about it. Nobody took care of it. One might say that there's a lot they would do to try to protect their kids. I'm not here to judge either way on that, but I also am here to let you know there's more to stories. And because it's juveniles on Veronica's family side, them documents are sealed. So they can't be shown to you. But them documents do exist. It's good to see you, Laced Venom. Anyway, so we ended up getting 5 people got arrested. 5 people were involved with this. They were a part of a group called God's Misfits. Take some sober citizens and put them together with some people that said that they tried churches and they felt like they was misfits. So that's where the God's Misfits came from. Supposedly it's laughed about. It was just a joke. But we know there was big numbers and they were meeting. And now 5 of them's been arrested. Where did all the other ones go to? All the other ones that was part of this God's Misfits, where'd they disappear to? Are they still getting together? We don't know. But anyway, Veronica and Jillian was headed to go pick up Veronica's kids. They were steered off the road and they were stabbed and unalived. They were put in the back of a trailer, a cattle trailer. This is all in a rural area in the Panhandle. And they was transferred in that cattle trailer to some property that was leased by Tad Coleman. And Tad Coleman and them had made a hole 10 foot deep. These 2 ladies was put in the freezer, strapped the freezer up, put it in the hole, cement was put over it, and it was covered up. And now we know that, they were stabbed. A lot happened. When this first came out, it was said that they could be in a trafficking case when they were missing. And now come to find out, had to do with custody, had to do with grandma being upset that things were happening to her grandkids and she was running out of money to fight in court. Either way, nobody should have been unalived. It's a sad deal. And that's what brings us all here. That's what started this channel, was Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. And the case is sealed, but there's also a civil case that's pending. And so we was able to get some paperwork. I'm not the best reader. I'm going to give you a shot. And if I have to stop and take a drink, I'm going to stop and take a drink. So if this is your first time to the channel, you might get pretty bored trying to listen to this. But as for the rest of the people, I know they're here to see it. They want to hear it. We went over it before briefly, but not everybody was in here and got to see it. I don't see Christopher. And Christopher was the one really wanting me to go over it, but hopefully he comes in. Yeah, let's all just stop and take a drink. That's right. We need some big drinks. And then, oh, you know what? There is something else I want to show you before I forget. I might have closed it. Dang it. There was an update on them bodies being found in the bayou up there down there in Houston. There was only like 4 in 2023, and there was over 20 in 24. And this year there's already been over 20 that's just dying in the bayous. 23 of them is still being investigated. So that's kind of crazy. Pass to the left. That's right. Puff, puff, pass. Yeah, Christopher will be here. Okay, I'm going to start reading. Listen, I'm going to do my best to keep everything caught up here. But mostly I printed it and it's still really small. And I'm going to read from what I printed. There is some stuff I skipped over. I went and highlighted all my stuff that I wanted to read you guys. That some of it I'll just keep reading. But some of it I skipped over, like at the beginning. We're going to do Cora Twombly first. Cole's wife. Supposedly her part of this job was to gather up anything at the scene and take care of it. And that be cell phones. She was supposed to clean up the blood. Anything around the scene when this happened and she was there, her job was to clean up. She was supposed to get everything cleaned up. So, can you guys hear me okay? I'm going to assume you can hear me okay. Yeah, smoke them trees. That's right. Oklahoma medical is legal. Medical marijuana. So smoke it if you got it. I don't have a problem with it. Absolutely. You don't want me smoking and trying to read because I'll just keep continuing. I'll be like Uncle Dub. Two of you know what Uncle Dub. I'll be like Uncle Dub. I'll be in here just talking all kinds of shit. You don't want me in here talking all kinds of shit. I can promise you. All right. Let's see if I can get this bigger. Again, I'm not going to keep trying to roll my screen here so that everybody can read along with me, because then that's just going to take all damn night. So anyway, here we go. Anyway, so Cora Twombly is getting up there. Of course, she has to say her name. She's been married for 9 years. She has 2 children. She has a 22-year-old son and a 16-year-old daughter. And let's see here. Right here it says, we're going to start right here. Could you tell the court around March 30th, 2024, where were your children residing? She said her son, who's 22, was living on his own in Carrot, Texas, and her daughter was living at home. Okay, for those that are not familiar with our map, yeah, we're not going to go over that too. They're telling her to tell them how far her son is from her house. So we're going to just skip over that and try to get you to where I'm at. Okay. Question. With regard, now this is for Cora, and it's Buddy Leach asking the questions. With regard to the so small nature of that particular plea agreement, you're guilty of participating in the first-degree murders of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Are you not? Yes, sir. Question. You're also guilty of conspiring with the other defendants here and to commit first-degree murders of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Yes, sir. And you have agreed today to appear before the court and to testify in the matter today and at trial if necessary. And you've agreed to testify fully and truthfully. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And the state has agreed to recommend to the court at the time of your sentencing, if you do in fact appear before the court and you truthfully testify today and later a life sentence to count 1 and count 2, with all that being suspended but 30 years, $1,000 fine, and costs on count 1 and count 2. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Question. Since Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly died at the crime scene, the state has agreed to dismiss counts 3 and 4 with costs. Pursuant to our agreement, the state has agreed to recommend 10 years on count 5, the conspiracy count. Is that correct? Yes, sir. You recognize that counts 1 and 2 are 85% crimes. Yes, sir. And is that your agreement with the state of Oklahoma if you appear before the court today and you testify truthfully? Yes, sir. And so that the defendants in the particular case would be further aware as far as the agreement that you have with the state of Oklahoma, or agreements that you may have today with regard to your testimony with the special prosecutor of Stevens County. Now, I'm going to skip over all this too. This is where she had did some things, put some stuff in her kids' name and got loans in another county, some things against the law. And with this plea agreement, They made an agreement with the DA in Stevens County that they wouldn't go and charge her for the crimes she did, which was on the Kansas side at that too. Hey, delightfully chaotic. I'm glad you're here. Okay, here we go. Anyway, so I'm going to skip over that because that's just basically saying, yeah, you agree that you made an agreement that Stevens County won't come back and get you. And she says, yeah. Okay. And then it says a lot in this paperwork that she nodded, and does that mean yes? And she said, yeah, when she nods, that's what she means. She means yes. Okay. And they asked how she knew Paul Grice. She's known him since he was young, and we're learning constitutional rights and some different things. And Paul had come over to buy a puppy. And the question is, and when you say Paul, what's his last name? Answer, Paul Grice. Okay. Now, mind you, there's 5 defendants here, and Paul Grice is one of them. Okay. And I visited with him about it, and he come to watch videos with us, with the group. Again, that's back to the Sovereign Citizens, they're God's Misfits, that group. Question, okay. Well, question, okay is not a question, but it says question, okay. Answer, and I visited with him about it, and he came to watch videos with us and the group just grew from there. Okay. When did it begin? Approximately when did the group begin? After COVID, 2021 probably. Okay, so after COVID 2021, and at the very beginning, how many people were involved in this group? Just 6 adults and some adult children, I guess you would say. Okay. Who were the 6 adults, just the best you can recall at the very beginning? Answer, Cole and myself. Question, and you say Cole. What's his last name? A. Twombly. Okay. Paul and Lachey Grice. Okay. And Barrett and Lacey Cook. Okay. And Lacey Grice, or I'm sorry, Lachey Grice. How is she connected to Paul? She's Paul's wife. Okay. Now you mentioned Barrett and Lacey Cook. Do they have children? Yes. And is there a connection between their family and your family? Their oldest daughter is married to my stepson. Okay. To Frank? Yes. Okay. And then they just talk about that relationship. I really want to get to the good parts that really make a difference. That makes a difference to this case. Okay, so when you started out, there was approximately 6 people in the group. Yes, sir. And it grew. Would you tell the court some of the other members that joined this group? Answer, Kenny Bob Tapp. I gotta take a drink. So these are the misfits. These are some of the people that they're saying who it is. Kenny Bob Tapp and his wife, Rachel, and his brother, Josh. Okay, and then answer, Tapp. Brad Grice is Paul's cousin that he worked for. Okay. Tad and Tiffany. Tad called him Tiffany Adams. Okay. We had a couple young girls that came to mostly hang out with anyway, Cora's daughter. And when you say Cora's daughter, you're referring to your daughter. Yes, sir. Did Clint Twombly also join the group? Yes, sir, he did. Let's talk about Clint Twombly for a minute. Clint Twombly is Cole's cousin. He's part of the Misfits. He ran for sheriff in Boise City and got sheriff, but never took that job. Supposedly his wife has cancer and he's going back and forth to Dallas for treatment. But Clint Twombly's truck was used in the commission of these crimes. We've all thought that he was connected a lot more. It's crazy that they haven't went for more people that knew that this was going to go down and nobody tried to stop it. Anyway, did Clint Twombly also join the group? Yes, sir, he did. And is he related to your family? Yes, sir. How is he related? He's a close cousin. What was the purpose of the group? The purpose of the group, to learn our constitutional rights and how to access them, and what rights we had and what rights we didn't have, and how to use them in today's world. Was there a point in time where you guys had an opportunity to actually go and see David Straight? God's Misfits followed David Straight. Yes, sir. And could you tell the court about that? When I went, or the first time anybody went, he had a seminar in Canadian Texas, and my husband and Cole and my stepson, went to see him. So anyway, this David Straight, he tells everybody about their rights, another sovereign citizen type of deal. And we're going to skip over all that. They just talk about David Straight and his ideology is to learn your constitutional rights, okay? And then they proceed to ask Cora, was you guys trying, is there paperwork to be done to be a state nationalist? Yes. What do you got to do? There's a lot of paperwork. Who has anybody in your group actually did all that paperwork? The answer was no. See, Paul Grice probably got the furthest in it, and the cooks. No, nobody really wants to go over exactly all that talk about the sovereign citizens and all that. Okay, and then I highlighted everything, but I'm telling you, there's just a lot we don't have to go over, like how far Tiffany lived from Twombly's. But so we're going to skip over, and Cora starts talking about how she knew Tiffany because Cora grew up in Boise City. Tiffany grew up in Keys, but they wasn't really friends. And then they started talking, and they had something in common. Tiffany has the son Wrangler. So here we go. You mentioned something with regard to Tiffany's son Wrangler being friends with your son. Yes, sir. And you said that she had her son was Wrangler and that you guys have Frank. Is that correct? Yes, but it wasn't Frank that was friends with Wrangler. Okay, who was it? It was Vern. Okay, that's right. And did the two of you share several problems and the difficulties that you were having with those particular children? Yes, sir. And by sharing those things, did it help you all grow closer together? Yes, it did. So that's where they came closer together. Both their kids was having some issues with drugs, and they found that in common. And unfortunately, Cora's stepson Vern passed away. I don't think they ever really said exactly what he passed away from. They found him out in the field, and they said carbon monoxide. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Anyway, they both were drug addicts. And what challenges did that present to you as an adult? To me? Yes, as a parent. Just to watch a son go down that road and not to be able to help him and to lose him in the end. And this is Cole's son that passed away, right? Yes, sir. As far as your relationship with Tiffany Adams, at some point in time, were there some additional issues that drew the two of you close together as far as communities? Yes, her grandkids and their situation. Okay, and how you become aware of the situation. I knew that Tiffany had been in court trying to get the kids and get custody of the kids. Question, okay. And at some point, she told me that they were being abused when they were at, this is weird how they worded this, abused where they were at with their mother by their uncle. And I watched those kids on every Sunday and every Wednesday, okay? So I cared for them. And my daughter babysat them. Or the question is, and your daughter babysat? And then the answer, and daughter babysat them. And me and my daughter babysat them. Question, how often would you say that Tiffany Adams would visit with you and talk to you about those kids? Depending on what was going on, sometimes I talked to her once or twice a week. Sometimes I wouldn't talk to her except Sundays and Wednesdays. That's weird. Once or twice a week, and then every Sunday and Wednesday. So basically, they talked at least 2 times a week, every Sunday and Wednesday. Okay. Was it a topic that was just shared with you, or was it also shared with other members of the group? Answer. I know she shared it with me. The rest of the group, I'm pretty sure, was aware of it. I don't know if she shared with them or not. Question. With regard to answer, or with anything she told you as far as abuse, that she believed that her grandchildren were suffering, did you ever receive any documentation or anything that would verify anything she was telling you? Answer. Just that the behavior of the kids that I saw, and then I didn't see any documentation until after we were arrested and I was shown the court documents from where she had been fighting with the kids. Okay. Hey, Miss Collector's Item. I'm attempting to read Cora's statement. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. We're fighting for the kids. Okay. And did she share with you as far as what was going on in court and what was going to be happening and all that kind of stuff? She did. Okay. What did she tell you? After last time she came to court, basically she couldn't afford to fight in court anymore. When was that? After August of last year. Okay. So sometime after August of 2023, at some point in there, she was starting to have some financial issues, right? Yes. Do you know the last attorney that she hired? Do I know him personally? No. Do you know what his name was? No, sir, I don't. I don't recall. Do you remember her talking about him? Yes. Do you remember when she fired him? Answer. I don't remember when. I know she told me he wasn't going to work because he was costing her too much and he wasn't getting any results. Question. Okay. If you recall, was that in early 2024? Answer. I believe so. Question. If you know, did Tiffany visit, and then it says, Tiffany Adams visit with you as far as a deadline the court had given her to hire an attorney? Answer. I knew she had a hearing coming up that I assumed she would have to have an attorney for, but I don't know what that date was. Okay. Answer. Exactly. Question. Was it April of 2024? Answer. Probably. Are you familiar? Did she visit with and talk to you at all with regard to how they were doing visitation? Answer. I knew that she was driving the kids to Hugoton on Saturdays for the kids to spend the day with their mom, and then picking them up again and bringing them back. Question. Okay. Was that visitation supervised or unsupervised? Answer. Supervised. Question. And how did that part of the visitation work? Answer. The last court that she went to, Veronica had a list of supervisors that she wanted to use, and Tiffany was not happy with those. Okay. Answer. So she wanted a state-appointed supervisor, one that did it for a living, and the judge granted that, but Tiffany had to pay for it. Question. Okay. And if you know, was that November of 2023? I believe so. Question. So we're talking about supervision visitation with Veronica Butler? Yes, sir. And that was once a week on Saturday? Yes, sir. And it was like around 10 hours a day or something? Probably. Do you know who the supervisor was that Tiffany Adams was using? I believe her name was Cheryl. Question. Okay, Cheryl Brune from here in Texas County? She says, okay. Question. If Tiffany Adams chose a particular day not to use her supervisor, Cheryl Brune, then what would happen? Answer. Then Veronica would have to provide the supervisor. Okay, and were there some supervisors that Veronica could utilize that were approved by the court? Answer. I assume her list had been approved by the court. Question. Do you know who they were? Answer. No. Did you know if Julian Kelly was one of the supervisors on that list? I gotta take a drink. Okay. I would assume so, but I don't know that for sure. Question. So Tiffany Adams is running out of money and she has a problem with regard to the grandkids and Veronica Butler. Yes, sir. At some point in time, did she visit and talk to you about how she was planning on addressing that problem? She did. And what did she say? She asked to come and visit with me after they dropped the kids off at school. I said, okay. And in the conversation, she told me she needed to get rid of Veronica. Question. Okay. Do you know approximately when that conversation took place? Answer. Sometime after school started in August. Question. When she told that to you, what did that mean to you? You talking about getting rid of somebody. How did you interpret that? Dead? That she was going to kill her? Question. Did you mention anything to law enforcement? I did not. Question. Is it fair to say that Tiffany trusted you, that she thought you would, that she believed that you probably wouldn't go to law enforcement? Answer. I would assume so, yes. Question. Seems to me it would take a lot to trust to tell someone something like that. At this point in time, did she ask anything of you? Answer. Not at this particular time. No. Question. Was there a point in time? and I'm just going to generally say this, in essence, where there was like a call to arms to Tiffany's residence. Do you know what I'm referring to when I say call to arms? Tell me if this gets boring and I'll quit reading. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep reading it to you. I do. When you say Tiffany's residence, where did Tiffany Adams live at? East of Keys. And did she live on Blacktop Road? Yes, sir. How far from Keys did she live approximately? Approximately 4 to 5 miles. Okay, and what happened? She had called me and said that Wrangler and his girlfriend at the time were going to bring law enforcement and come take the kids from her house. Question, and was that based on the fact that originally there was a decree from the court that granted Wrangler custody of his kids? Yes, sir. Question, Tiffany never had custody of the kids. Answer, no, sir. Question, is it fair to say that she financed Wrangler so he could get custody so she could have the kids? Answer, it's fair to say that she financed Wrangler. Question, okay, and did she end up with the kids? She did. So Wrangler kind of turned on her? Yes, sir. What happened? She just asked if we would come over and be there, so nothing, basically as a witness is what she wanted. Okay. Who did she reach out to? Myself and to, I guess, Tad and Paul and Barrett and Lacey. Okay. When you say Tad Colton. Okay, Tad Colton. You said Paul, that's Paul Grice. Yes, sir. And the cooks were there? Yes, sir. Was everybody armed? Yes, sir. Did they even bring some extra long guns? A couple. Okay. What extra guns were brought? I believe they were ARs. Question. Okay, who brought them? Answer. I think Tad brought one and Paul brought one, if I remember correctly. Okay. Was your daughter also there? Yes, sir. Do you know approximately when this happened? No, I'm not sure of the date. Was. Question. Okay, after August of 2023. And what happened? Wrangler and his girlfriend showed up. Cimarron County Sheriff showed up. Deputy Sheriff and a city cop showed up. Lots of yelling and screaming in the driveway. And eventually Wrangler and his girlfriend left. Question. Okay. Did anyone ever come back later on that day from the sheriff's office to try to take the kids? Answer. Not that I'm aware of. Question. What was the intent of the group? What were you all going to do? Answer. Keep the kids from going anywhere, I guess. Question. Do you think this event helped you draw closer to Tiffany? Closer, I'm sure. What happened next with regard to you and Tiffany? Answer. She came to me and thought that she had a plan on how to get rid of Veronica and she wanted us to help her. She says us, she says that Cole didn't know but a couple days before, but here she's saying that Veronica came, or that Tiffany came to them. She wanted us to help her. Anyway, do you know when that was? February, I believe. No, I just lost my thought. Okay. Okay, would that have been after this event at her house, the call to arms, where everybody showed up with guns? Yes, sir. Okay, what was your response? She's asking for your help. What did you tell her? I told her we needed to do what we needed to do to keep these kids safe. Question. At that point in time, had she presented any kind of plan to you or anything? No. Question. When you all met at Tiffany's house, called arms, and y'all are at Tiffany's house, was Cole there? Yes, sir. And you say Cole. Do you mean Cole Twombly? Yes, sir. Any idea why Tiffany just called you guys to come to her house as far as a call to arms and she didn't reach out to anyone else in the group? And then Miss School, Tad's attorney objected, calls for speculation. The court overruled. If she knows it, she may answer it. Question. If you know, answer. I don't know why she didn't call anyone else. Question. Do you know why she reached out to you with regard to asking you to help her murder Veronica Butler? Answer. Because she knew I cared about the kids. Question. You mentioned Paul Grice. Yes, sir. Do you know Paul Grice? Yes, sir. How long have you known him? Since he was a little kid. And from where? One of his sisters and I were close in high school, so I knew him when he was at home. Question. And he was a member of the group? Yes, sir. You know Tad Colum? Yes, sir. You know him from where? Knew him. We were in high school. From when we were in high school. Where did you go to school at? Where did he go to school at? Keys. And did he have a relationship with Tiffany Adams? He did. And what was the nature of their relationship? She says they're a couple. Do you know how long they had been a couple? Not exactly, no. Question. When Tiffany visited with you and asked you and talked to you about if you would help her kill Veronica Butler, did the two of you discuss any options besides killing Veronica Butler? Any better ideas? No, not that I can remember. You told us that in the very beginning that Tiffany didn't have a plan, that she just asked you if you would help her kill Veronica Butler. Did that change? Yes, sir. What happened next? She come to me and said that she had a plan to make it look like it was an accident. Question. Okay, what was her plan? Answer. That a lot of the roads that she drove down were local roads. And question. You said that she drove down. Answer. That Veronica drove down, going to work. Okay. That it would look like an accident if a vice bounded off of a pickup and landed in her windshield. Question. Okay. So that was the logic behind her plan? Was her actual plan? Question mark. Answer. To have me drive the pickup and Tad to meet on the road and Tad would throw a vice through the windshield. Question. From the pickup that you're driving? Answer. Yes, sir. Question. As part of this plan what was Tiffany Adams going to be doing? Answer. She was going to see where Veronica was at and let us know where she was at. Question. Okay, generally speaking, when did she share this with you and as far as when she started getting her plan together? Question mark. January or February, possibly. Hello, Nona. Question. Okay, so she begins by getting you to agree to help her murder Veronica Butler. She doesn't have a plan. Then when she gets a plan, she visits with and talks to you and tells you about the plan? Yeah. What happened next? We were cleaning up trees, some dead trees out on our yard. Tad had come over to help. Question. Okay, and where's that at? At the school. Okay. Darren Griggs? Yes, sir. Question. Okay. Tad comes over to help and brought the vise that they wanted to use. And we had some hay bales in a ditch that we had baled up. Tiffany wanted us to practice on those hay bales with the vise. Question. Okay. What would that practice look like? Answer. Me driving the pickup and Tad standing in the back with the vise. Question. Okay. So you'd be driving by the bells and he would throw the vise at the bells? Yes, sir. Question. Was that in February 2024? Yes. Question. Did Tiffany stay? Tiffany Adams, did she stay to watch you all practice? No. Question. And when she left, did you all practice? No. Question. Why didn't you all practice? Answer. Tad didn't think we needed to. Question. With regard to implementing this plan, were there any precautions that were taken? Answer. We were going to use my pickup because it didn't have GPS. It was an old pickup. Question. Okay. And you could, for the record, could you tell the court what pickup you're talking about? It's a 91 Chevy half-ton. Okay. Did you all specifically talk about using that vehicle because it didn't have GPS? Yes, sir. Okay. What other precautions did you all take? Answer. She brought disposable cell phones, so we didn't take our own phones with us. Okay. With regard to this plan, who was actually going to have the phones? Answer. Tiffany and Tad. Question. Okay, you didn't get a burner phone for purpose of this one? Answer. No. Question. And what was the purpose in having phones? Answer. So that Tiffany could let us know where Veronica was and that she had left her house and where she was going. Okay. So Tiffany's supposed to be at Veronica's house and she keeps watch. And then where were you and Mr. Cullum going to be? Answer. We drove to Rolla, Kansas. And was that the plan? Yes. Is there a specific reason why you all thought that Veronica Butler might leave her house that day or that night? Yeah, it was her birthday. So the plan was that this was to take place on February 28th? Answer. If that's her birthday. Question. And what did her birthday have to do with it? Answer. Tiffany thought She would probably go out somewhere to celebrate her birthday. Oh, question. Okay. And did Veronica Butler, did she have a fiance? Answer. I believe so. Question. And did you all discuss and talk about the fact that the fiance might be with her? Answer. There was a probability that he would be with her. Yeah. Question. Had he been with her? Was that going to change the plan at all? Nope. So you all had this plan. Did you all try to implement this plan? Yes. So on February 28th, well, before we get to that, let me ask you this. Did your daughter, did she find out what you all were doing? Yes. How did you find out? She had asked me what Tiffany and I were talking about. She knew the kids, so I told her what I knew to be the situation. And then the day we were cleaning out the trees, she had seen the vise in the back of Tad's pickup and asked what we were talking about. If that's what we were talking about. Did your daughter already know that Tiffany Adams was planning on killing Veronica Butler? Yes, I believe so. And she saw you all there with the vice and she asked you about it? Yes, sir. You guys still with me? Yes, I'm going to leave it up, Jezebel. I'm going to leave it up. And also at the top, I pinned it. I pinned the documents. And also in Discord, I pinned the documents. So if you guys need something else, let me know. I'm going to continue to read. And I'm just not going to keep up with this over here, though, because I'm way down. I'm like to 51. There's just too much to cover. And when I get to the ones that I think you really ought to read, then that's when I'll bring it up. How about that? It's going to be easier for me. Okay, yeah, it's a lot to print. I printed it too. Okay, let's go. Are you guys wanting to hear this? Because if you're not, it's okay with me. I just want to make sure that we get all this information out. It's a lot to look at. If you have questions or comments, you can say it to the side. You can talk to each other to the side. Or if I miss something. Deb C, if I miss something, let me know. Okay. What did you tell her? This is when Cora's talking to her 16-year-old daughter. What did you tell her? I told her what the plan was. Question. You've listened to the audio statement she provided, the OSBI. Is that correct? So for some of you that's in here and watching, I just want you to know that Cora's daughter went to her brother's house on that following Wednesday. So I meant to look it up on my phone to tell you exact date. I thought I wrote it down. I know it was on that Wednesday. So they got unalived on March 30th. And on that Wednesday, Cora's daughter went over to Cora's son's house. And anyway, she told the son, the daughter told her brother exactly what had went down. They had the police there and then also called the father. And that's where we're getting at right here. Anyway, so yes, so the daughter turned him in. Anyway, you listened to the audio statement she provided, the OSBI. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Did your daughter know what a vice was? Answer. Not from listening to that, no. Question. Did she think a vice was an amble? Question. Answer. What did she think a vice was? Answer. An amble? Question. Did your daughter know when you all were going to implement this plan? Answer. Yes. So on February 28th, you all go ahead and implement the plan. You all are going to give it a shot. What vehicle are you going to drive? My half-ton. Anyone in the vehicle with you? Tad was. Did you all have your personal cell phones with you? No. Did Tad Cullum have his burner phone? Yes. What was Tiffany Adams driving? Her black pickup truck, I believe. Okay. Answer. I say that. I don't know for sure. I never actually saw her. Question. Okay. What was her job? Answer. To let us know when Veronica left and where she was going. Question. Okay. Where was she supposed to be at? Answer. Veronica or Tiffany? Question. Tiffany. Answer. Hugoton. We're at Hugoton. I assume close to Veronica's house. Question. Okay. Because she's supposed to tell you when Veronica left the house? Yeah. When Veronica leaves the house, that's when Tiffany Adams is supposed to do. Answer. To let us know which direction she goes and follow her, I guess. Question. Okay. And then what was supposed to happen? Answer. And then we were supposed to meet her on the road. Question. Okay. And throw the vice. You say we. Who's that? Tad and I. Okay. So were you and Tad Colum stationed at? Where were you stationed at? Let me see here. Yeah, I'm already shocked at if the names. Yeah, and Paul releases some names too. Yeah, keep it up. Okay. No. I'm working through my sock pile, matching up darn holes. Guess it's time to put away the flip-flops. That's right. There you go. Okay, here we go. Okay. So where were you and Tad Colum stationed at? Rolla. Okay, so Tiffany is supposed to follow her when she leaves the house. It's her birthday. You all are in Rolla. And then what? What's supposed to happen next? We were supposed to drive wherever Veronica was driving on the road. Okay. And meet her on the road. Okay. And Tad was going to throw the bikes from the back of the pickup into her windshield. Okay. Did it make any difference if it was a dirt road or a paved road? Answer. I thought they were planning on a dirt road, but I don't know. Question. Okay. They were hoping for a dirt road, right? Right. Question. What happened? Tiffany called and said that Veronica had left her house, but just went to her friends across town and didn't look like she was going anywhere else. Question. Okay. And then what happened? Answer. We left. Question. Where did you go? Answer. I dropped Tad off, and then that was a Wednesday, so went to the cooks for supper. I went to the cooks for supper. Question. With regard to this Hugoton plan, did Cole Twombly know about it? Did you tell him? Miss Lopez. Objection. Spousal privilege. The court. Your objection? Miss Lopez. Spousal privilege. The court. Judge. We're not asking for anything that Mr. Twombly may have told her. Just want to know if she told Mr. Twombly. The court. Objection will be sustained. Question. Was Cole Twombly, was he aware of what you were doing? Answer. He knew I'd be gone. I assumed he knew what we were doing. Question. Okay. When you all got back, this is February 28th. When you all got back, did you ever try this Hugoton plan again? Answer. No. Question. What happened next? Answer. As far as what? Question. You didn't do this plan. Answer. Right. Question. Okay. Okay. Okay, then it says the court, ladies and gentlemen, as we move towards March 24 testimony, it took a brief break. Here we go. We're going to go again. Question. Ms. Twombly, you've explained to us, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that your daughter knew what you guys were going to do on February 28th. Is that correct? Yes. Question. Did she find out after February 28th that you all had not been successful? Yes. How did she find out? She asked me and I told her. Question. Was a new plan developed? Yes. Question. Generally speaking, when you all would visit and talk about a plan to kill Veronica Butler, when would you guys meet? Answer. Usually on a Sunday or a Wednesday when we were all together. Question. Okay. Now, the big group was also there on Sundays and Wednesdays also. Is that correct? Yes. So how did you guys get together if the big group was there too? Answer. We went outside to a vehicle or away from everybody else. Away from everybody else. Question. Okay. And at that point in time, that's when you all would discuss the plan or whatever it is you guys were going to do? Yes. Question. Was there any kind of rule or any kind of practice that you all followed with regard to the cell phone? Answer. We just didn't have them with us. Question. Okay. And is that something that each of you followed? Yes. Question. Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly, they were killed on March 30th. They say March 20th. I'm sorry, March 30th. So basically at this point in time is we talk about the plan where we're talking about a time period from March 1st to March 30th. Is this correct? Yes. Hey, Red Hippie, good to see you. Hey, for you to see a smile. Rock, you're the best. Appreciate all that you do. Rock will tell you the truth and not sugarcoat anything. Thanks. I will always stand. I appreciate that. And I'm very outspoken, especially when it comes to the truth. It's got to be told. It's got to be told. Here we go. We're going over Cora Twombly's statements from the pretrial in December. Okay. The question. Okay. Who was all going to have burner phones? Answer. I would have one. Paul would have one. Tad, Tiffany would all have one to start with. Question. Okay. And then the three of you would be communicating with each other? Yes. What was Tiffany Adams' job? To get them in the trailer. And how was she going to do that? I wanted to make sure I didn't skip something. It seemed weird that we got all the way here already. Anyway, don't look like I skipped anything. Okay. How was she going to do that? She was going to lure them under the gate. I can't even read that word. That the kids were, it's got like a mark on my screen here. That the kids were in there, I think. She was going to lure them under the assumption, I guess, that the kids were in the trailer too. So anyway, Tiffany was trying to get Veronica and Jillian in the trailer, is what it amounts to. It's the way they worded it. This is weird. Okay. And what was she going to tell them that the kids were doing? Answer, I don't know for sure. Question, okay, so Tiffany Adams was supposed to lure Veronica Butler at this point in time. Did you know Jillian Kelly was going to be there? No. Question, so she was supposed to lure them into the trailer, and whenever Veronica Butler made it into the trailer, then what was supposed to happen? Answer, they were going to kill her. Question, who was supposed to kill Veronica Butler? Answer, Paul and Tad. Question, and okay, and then after that, what was going to happen? Then after that, they were going to take them to a hole that they dug and bury them. Question, did you know where the hole was at? Answer, I knew where the least grass was at. Question, okay, had you been there before? Answer, once. Question, how were they supposed to be buried there? Answer, in a freezer. Do you know why they were using a freezer? Answer, because they didn't want anything to dig them up. Question, after the freezer was buried with Veronica Butler in it, what was supposed to happen next? Answer, as far as? Question, the burial site. Answer, oh, they were going to put, he had cows in that pasture, and they were going to put hay on it. Put the hay over it so the cows would stomp it in. Question, okay, and what was the purpose of that? Answer, to keep anybody from finding out. Okay, what vehicles were you guys going to use? Answer, my half ton, our half ton. Okay, and then a flatbed pickup that we borrowed from Cole's cousin to pull the trailer. Question, okay, when you say Cole's cousin, who are you talking about? Answer, Clint Twombly. Question, okay, and what color was this truck? Answer, blue. Where was the horse trailer coming from? Answer, Tiffany's house. Do you know where the freezer was coming from? No. So we needed the vehicles, we needed the trailer, we needed the freezer. What other equipment was going to be needed? Answer, something to dig the hole. Question, okay, what was going to be used? Answer, skid loader. Question, I'm sorry? Answer, Tad's skid loader. Question, Tad Cullum skid loader? That's what was going to be used to dig the hole? Answer, as far as I knew. Question, okay, that's what the plan was? Answer, yes. Question, what that also going to be used to fill the hole in? Was that also going to be used to fill in the hole? Answer, I assume so. Question, okay. Have you seen his skid steer before? Answer, I have. Question, where was the hay supposed to come from? Answer, there at the grass. Okay. Whose hay was it? It was Tad's. Do you have any discussion with regard to this trailer with Tiffany Adams as far as why it was a good trailer to utilize for something like this that you can recall? Answer, not that I recall. Question, was there any way to trace that trailer? Answer, they have serial numbers, but you do not have to register trailers in Oklahoma. Question, okay, and did you talk to Tiffany Adams about that, or did she talk to you about that? Answers, no. Okay, did you also have stun devices? We did. Where did they come from? Tiffany had bought them and brought them to us. Question, who all had stun guns? Answer, I know I had one and I know Paul had one. Question, okay. Answer, I assume Tad and Tiffany each had one, but I didn't know that for sure. Question, pursuant to the plan, what were they for? Answer, in case we needed them. Question, and the burner phone that you got, where did it come from? Answer, Tiffany bought it. Question, later on, did the plan change? Answer, only that they needed somebody to watch for law enforcement from the south. Question, okay. At this point in time, they've got you watching from the north, and then you have your other duties. Question, and Tad and Paul are responsible for making sure Veronica is dead and Tiffany's supposed to get them into the trailer? Yes. Who was supposed to drive Clint Twombly's truck and the trailer to the burial site? Answer, to the burial site, question mark. Answer, Tad. Question, Tad Cullum? Answer, Question, okay, and then your job, once you've taken care of the stuff you're supposed to take care of at the scene, your job is to then take Tiffany where? Answer, to her house. At this point in time, did you have a day that had been given to you as far as when this event was going to happen? No. Did you have a location? Not specifically then. Question, okay, they hadn't come up with a location yet? Not exactly. Okay, what discussions had taken place with regard to location? Well, she had said that before that, Veronica could come to Four Corners. Okay, it didn't print very good, but I got it now. Well, she had said that when they exchanged, before that, Veronica could come to Four Corners so she could meet her at Four Corners with the kids. Answer, okay. Question, but they didn't want to be on the highway. Question, why? Because they didn't want anybody driving by on the main highway. Okay. At that point in time, were there discussions with regard to different options as far as places where maybe they could do all this deal? Answer, just there or somewhere between Elkhart and Four Corners. Question, okay. So when they decided they needed a fifth person, what happened? Answer, I asked Cole if he would watch. Hey, flower daisies. I know Tiffany is a pig. Definitely. Hey, red hippie. Yes, I'm glad the daughter had the sense to do that too. There's a lot of people. You're talking a 16-year-old, okay? We're also talking a 16-year-old that is also being told that the kids are being abused, sexually abused. And a lot of times people say they're going to do stuff, but they don't really follow through with it. And people were getting mad that the daughter didn't say something about the first attempt, but she really didn't have any evidence to be able to tell law enforcement about the first attempt. And honestly, after seeing what we've seen with law enforcement, they didn't even look for these two women. I mean, I was out there every day. We never saw any law enforcement looking for these women. We set up a command center. We searched. Hell, I paid people to search. If they came out, I gave them money just to search for these women. But it wasn't law enforcement. Okay, here we go. So she asked Cole if he would watch. Question, okay, is that what the others wanted? Answer, for the most part, yeah. Question, did they have any other ideas who else could be a fifth person? Answer, no. Question, so with Cole, that would make 5 of you. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Question, what was Cole Twombly's job supposed to be, at least originally? Answer, to watch for law enforcement and then to take Tad's pickup and bale of hay to where they were going to be buried and take the trailer and the pickup back out. Question, okay, so Cole's job was to begin with, he's supposed to be around Four Corners and he's to be watching for law enforcement vehicles, right? Answer, yes. Question, okay, once Veronica Butler was dead, she's dead. She's in the trailer. Tad Cullum takes the truck and trailer and he heads towards the burial site. You're taking Tiffany to her house. Yes, sir. Where are Tiffany's grandkids at this point in time? Pursuant to the plan. Answer, they were staying the night with Barrett and Lacey Cook's youngest kid. Okay, with the Cooks? Yes. So once you took Tiffany Adams to her house, what was she going to do then? Answer, go get the kids. Question, where was Paul Grice supposed to go? Answer, with Tad. Question. So Tad Cullen, Paul Grice are supposed to head over to the burial site. They're in Clint Twombly's truck, and they're driving it, and they're pulling this trailer that belongs to Tiffany Adams, and inside the trailer is, we're going to have a dead Veronica Butler. Answer, yes. Question. So they're heading to the burial site. Now, what's Colt Twombly supposed to do pursuant to the plan? Answer. To go to Tad's house and pick up his pickup. Question. Okay, so he's supposed to switch vehicles? Answer, yes. Question. At this point in time with Tad. Answer. He's supposed to drop off one pickup and pick up another one. Question. Okay, pursuant to the plan, whose vehicle was Colt Twombly supposed to be driving? Answer. Paul Grice. Question. Okay, so then he's supposed to take Paul Grice's vehicle, drive to Tad Cullum's house, right? Yes. And pick up Tad Cullum's truck? Yes. What does that truck look like? Answer. It's a white Ford with a built-in on it. Okay. Then with that truck, he's supposed to pick up hay? Where's the hay going to be at? Do you know? Answer. I'm not for sure. Question. Okay. But the hay belongs to Tad Cullum? Says yes. So then he leaves Tad Cullum's truck, the hay, at the burial site. And then what's Cole supposed to do next? Take the pickup and trailer back out. Question. Okay. And what's he supposed to do with it? Answer. Bring the pickup home, but nobody ever really told him what was going to happen with the trailer. Okay. Y'all didn't talk about the trailer? What to do with the trailer or anything like that? Answer's no. Question. Was it the decision that they needed a fifth person? Was that decision made basically a week before March 30th? Let's see here. I see a question. She was scared, I'm sure. Yep. I wonder if CW, which is Cora's daughter, had contacted her dad to have a safe place to go after telling Ellie what she knew. Well, it's gonna say it in here. It's gonna say it in here. But no, she contacted her brother. She told her brother what happened. Her brother called the cops. The cops called her dad to come get Cora's daughter, CW. Okay, here we go. Was it the decision that they needed a fifth person? Was that decision made basically a week before March 30th? Answer, somewhere in there, yeah. Okay, at that point in time, had Colt Twombly been to any of your meetings? Answer, with the four of us? Question, Answer, no. Question, at the point in time, did you all have a location yet? Answer, no, not specifically. Question, okay, when did you find out that Jillian was going to be present? Answer, the day before. Question, okay, did you all also meet the Wednesday before? Yes. Where did you all meet at? Answer, at the Cooks for Supper. Question, okay, and again, this is the regular big group, right? Answer, yes. Question, and was there a point in time when this smaller group met and visited and talked? Answer, yes. Question, and again, this is the first time that Colt Twombly had been there, right? Answer, right. Question, is this the point in time where Cole finds out what his duties and responsibilities are? Answer, yes. Question, he agrees to those duties and responsibilities? Yes. Did y'all discuss any other options other than killing Veronica Butler? Did anyone throw any other ideas out there? Answer, not at that point. Question, you realize and understand that on that Wednesday, Tiffany Adams knew that Jillian Kelly was going to be there. Answer, I didn't know that. Question, but she knew that. Objection, Miss Quill. Objection, Your Honor. The court sustained. Question, you realize she withheld that information from you? Answer, not until now. Not until right now. Question, she withheld it from all of you. So you mentioned discussions before. Did you all meet the day before the event? Yes. That would be March 29th. Yes. What time of day did you all meet? Answer, early in the morning. Question, and that would have been on a Friday? Yes. It's good to see you on Law. We're going over Cora Twombly's testimony. Yeah, that's where her son lives, is in Carrick, Texas. But it says in here, unless I remember wrong, it says in here that he called the police came and talked to her, and they called the dad. Anyway, let's go. Okay, Cora drove Tiff, Paul, Tad to site on Friday. Cora picked up everyone at Tad's house. So I must have wrote that because I wasn't going to read all this, because it just talks about the Highway 95 and where exactly they met. So we're going to skip over that. A question is, and how close is that to the Yarborough School? 5 miles away. Is the Yarborough School north or south? It's north. The reason they picked that area is because Veronica knew that area, because Veronica lived around there, and Veronica went to Yarborough School. So, okay, Four Corners, is it south? Yes. When you go down 95 south of the crime scene, is there a paved road that you come to that runs across county roads to the west? Yes, sir. And where does that paved road go? It goes to Keys. So it's a paved road from Keys over to 95, and then from Keys going south on 171, then takes us down to Carrick, Texas. Yes, sir. And does Tiffany Adams live on Blacktop Road that runs from 95 over to Keys? Yes, sir. Why did they want to use the correction line? They're talking about the L Road where they did get unalived at. One was because it had a spot where you couldn't see a whole lot from the highway. Question, okay. And two, it was something that Veronica was familiar with. She used to live in the area around there. Okay, did they say she used to go to Yarborough schools? Answer, I don't know if they told me that or not. Question, did you all have any specific discussions with regard to cell phones? Just not to have your personal ones with you. Okay, any discussion with regards to the firearms? Answer, just that they didn't want us to use them because they'd be too loud and they could be traced, and they didn't want fingerprints to be found. Answer, okay. Or question, okay. Mr. Gill, and Your Honor, I would ask counsel could inquire as to who they are when the witness is testifying, because there's 5 different people involved. The court says you'll be able to do that on cross-examination, but the court would like to follow that as well during examination. Anyway, there we go. When you say they, who is they? Tad and Paul. Question. So Tad and Paul didn't want firearms used. They could be traced, right? And Tad Cullen was the one wanting to make sure that this crime scene, that this location is something that the group would be good with. Answer was yes. Was the group good with this being the location? Yes. Rick brought me a Coke. Okay. Any discussions with regard to wearing gloves? Answer, not specifically. Y'all just knew to wear gloves? I guess so. Question, okay. Any discussions with regards to leaving your guns at home or bringing guns or anything at all with regard to the guns other than the fact that you're not supposed to use them? Answer, not that I recall. Nope. Question, was everybody going to be wearing a gun? Answer, everybody usually was. Question, and Tiffany Adams would be the exception to that? Isn't that correct? Answer, I never saw her carry one on her person. Question, okay. Where did she have her gun at? Answer, I don't know that I ever saw it. Question, okay. Do you know what her gun of choice was? Answer, no. Question, okay. Anything said as far as all of you wearing hoodies or caps or anything? No. So if everybody was wearing gloves, everyone was wearing hoodies, everybody had a cap, that's just a coincidence? Answer, that was just what we wore that time of year. Question, okay, fair enough. And if I understand your testimony, this is when you found out that Jillian Kelly was also going. Answer, just not to have our personal ones. Wait a minute. Oh. Jillian was going to be there. Is that correct? Yes. And who provided you with that information? Tiffany. If I understand your testimony, that was a surprise to you? Yes. Was it a surprise to everyone in the group? Do you know based on the discussions? Answer, I believe that was the first time we all knew who would be with her. Yes. Question, okay, well, did you all know that there would be a supervisor with her? Answer. We knew that she was supposed to have a supervisor to pick up the kids. Question. Okay, was there a plan as to what was going to happen to the supervisor? Answer. There had been. Somebody asked, what about the supervisor? Question. Okay, what was the answer? Answer. Timmy said that if it was one of Veronica's supervisors, she had done nothing to keep the kids safe either. Question. Okay, so what did that mean? Answer. So that meant, she said basically, it was collateral damage. Okay, so what does that mean? That meant that she would have to die too. Question. Okay, so basically, knew before this day that 2 people were going to be killed there that day? Yes. You just didn't know the second person, who the second person was going to be? Miss Kelly? Answer. No. Did anyone in your group have a problem with now a second person being murdered too? Answer. I think we all had a problem with it, but it was the plan. Question. To the plan, what prep work were you all going to have to do before March 30th? What was going to have to happen? What was going to have to be done? Answer. In regards to what? Question. The plan. What were you all going to have to do to be ready? Answer. Pick up the trailer, pick up the pickup trailer and freezer. Okay? You're going to have the trailer, going to have the freezer. What else are you going to have to do? Answer. Somebody was going to have to dig a hole. Question. A hole's going to have to be dug out there on the grass. The place that you had been before? Yes. So before, basically the day before, you're going to have a hole dug. You're going to have the trailer. What else are you going to have to do? Are you going to need the burner phones? Oh yeah, we were all going to have the phones to communicate with. Okay, you're going to have the vehicle. Yes. So what were you all going to do the day before with regards to the vehicle? Answer. Take one to Tiffany's, one to the trailer. Okay. And that was all because I would have mine. Okay. Did everyone already have the stun guns? Answer. I believe she had brought those on Sunday and left it. Question. Okay. At this point in time, did your daughter know what was going to happen? Answer. I don't know that she knew specifically what was going to happen. She had an idea. Question. But she knew Veronica was going to die the next day. Answer. Yes. Or at least she was supposed to die the next day. Yes. How did she know that? Because I told her. I told her that I wouldn't be there when she got up, and that I had things to take care of. Okay. And she basically considered that pickup. She basically considered that pickup her pickup. Yeah. At this point in time, did anyone express concerns about the plan? Answer. After we'd gone and saw the site, Tad was very apprehensive about the plan. Let me make sure you guys are doing okay in chat here. I'm so glad you guys are talking. Now I understand why they took the truck from Lori's. Okay. Lori is Tad's mom. Yep. You guys are on it. Hey, Yippee. It's good to see you. Yes, Lori filed paperwork to try to get the truck back. That is true. And she had no luck. Is that the truck CW had to clean? Well, so the truck that Cora drives, that it was supposed to be CW's truck. And then the other one was Clint Twombly's truck. I don't really know which one she had to clean. I'm sure they cleaned all of them, because if you remember, well, I think they'll go over it here anyway. So let me get back to reading. Okay. At this point in time, did anyone express concerns about the plan? Answer. After we had gone and saw the site, Tad was very apprehensive about the plan. Okay. What were his concerns about the plan? Answer. All of the things that could go wrong. Okay. Like what, for instance? Answer. I don't know. That he said specifically, he knew that him and Tiffany would probably be the first suspects, and he wanted to make sure that everything was covered, taken care of. Okay, so he was worried that something might not be covered. Right. And since they were going to be looked at immediately as suspects, then everything had to be perfect or they were going to get caught. Right. With regard to his concerns and his fears, did you all make any adjustments to the plan? Answer. Not that I can recall, no. Question. Why did you all leave the car out there? Talking about Veronica's car. Why did you leave Veronica's car out there at L Road? Answer. They didn't know if it had a GPS on it, so the companies could track it. Okay. How would that have been a problem? Answer. Just they didn't have a place to get rid of it. Question. Okay. So you all decide just to leave the car there? Answer. Yeah. Other than the cell phones that you talked about, did you all have any plan with regard to how to get rid of any other evidence at this point in time? Answer. No. Not that we discussed. No. Question. Any discussions as far as what to do with the trailer? Answer. No. Not that I was aware of anyway. Question. Okie dokie. Now we're into March 29th, 2024, the day before. You've already told me that the first thing y'all did that day is you met as a group. They're near the correction line or the correction line. What else did y'all do the day before as far as getting ready for these murders? Answer. We dropped Clint's flatbed off with Tiffany that evening. Okay, that evening. Explain to me who was involved and exactly what you all did. Cole and I got in the half ton and he got in Clint's flatbed and we drove it to Tiffany's house and dropped off Clint's flatbed. So at this point in time, do y'all already have possession of Clint Twombly's truck? Let me make sure you guys are doing okay. Yeah, I would think you'd want. Nothing's ever been said about the gun. Now, I can't imagine that Jillian would run around with just the clips in her purse. But what is the chance that the gun was actually left at home? Because I don't see anything about the gun. Kind of weird. Okay, I'm going to go on. Possession of Clint Twombly's truck. Yes, and had for a few months. So they, Clint left that truck at the family farm that they all shared, and they'd been using it for a couple months. Question. Okay, so you all had Clint Twombly's truck, and then you had your half ton. Yes, and you left your house. Yes. Okay, and where'd you go? We went back to Tiffany's house. Okay, was it daylight or dark? It was dark. Okay, what did y'all do? We left Clint's pickup with her. Okay, where'd you leave it at? In her driveway on the south side of her house. Question. Did you all see Tiffany that evening? Answer. Yes. Did you have any discussions with her? No. No, just drop the pickup off. Question. Okay, did she want you all to do anything with the pickup that night? No. The day before, you all also get your burner phones? Yes. And what did you do with the burner phone? Answer. I took them home and put them on the charger. Question. And how did you get possession of the burner phones that evening? Answer. Tiffany gave them to us before with us left Tad's house that night. Question. Okay. So that morning, if I remember that morning, you drove to Tad's house and then the four of you went in your pickup to the crime scene. Yes. So when did she give you the burner phones? Answer. After we got back to Tad's before I went home. Question. And how many burner phones did you get? Answer. 2. Okay. And what were the burner phones for? Answer. 1 for me and 1 for Cole. Question. Okay. And why were you getting burner phones? Answer. Because we were each to look out on one end and the other. Question. Okay. So you're watching for law enforcement and on the north, and Cole's supposed to be watching for law enforcement on the south end? Yes. Question. Who was supposed to have the third burner phone? Answer. Tad and Tiffany and Paul. Okay. Was the hole dug the day before? I assume so. I don't know. What they don't really say anything like what the blood. They said she had to clean up the truck, but you guys got to remember too, there was floor dry, like kitty litter stuff that was in that truck. I think there was probably that's probably what she cleaned up. I don't know that they say all about the blood, but we're gonna read it. That's the best I can do. Okay. So assume that the hole was dug the day before. I assume so. Question. They were buried in it, weren't they? Yes. Did your daughter know what was going to happen the next day? Answer. Generally, yes. And how did she know? Answer. Because I told her. I wouldn't be there until the next day. Question. Did she see you all charging the burner phones? Answer. I'm sure she did. Question. Did she ask you questions about it that you recall? Answer. She asked me if they were mine, and I said no, they were Tiffany's. That's all. Question. Okay. She's a smart girl, isn't she? She is. Question. She knew what was going on. Answer. Indicating. Question. So she was shaking her head, yes. Question. She knew what was going on? Yes. Okay. Day of the murder, March 30th. What time did you wake up? Probably 6:30. The best you can recall, what were you wearing that day? Answer. Pair of jeans and a t-shirt, tennis shoes, and a hoodie, and a ball cap. Question. At some point in time, did you leave your house? Yes. Question. Approximately what time? Sometime between 7 and 7:30. Question. Okay. Was it a specific time that you planned for the murders to take place there at the crime scene? Answer. I think she was supposed to meet the kids at 9:30. 9:30. I'm not sure. Question. Okay. Really, you told us with regard to the plan that Tiffany's responsibility was to get Veronica Butler into the trailer and that Veronica Butler was supposed to die in the trailer. Is that correct? That was my understanding. Okay. Now we have a new figure. We have the supervisor too. So with regard to the plan, as the plan developed, how is the supervisor supposed to die? Answer. In the trailer. Question. Okay. Answer. Same as Veronica. Question. And how is she supposed to get in the trailer? Answer. Tiffany was hoping to get them both in the trailer. Question. Okay. So it's Tiffany's job to get them both in the trailer? And who's supposed to kill them? Answer. Tad and Paul. Question. When you say Tad, you're talking about Tad who? Tad Cullen. Let's see here. Hello, Journey. Okay, I'm curious as to what the dad and son checking cattle said they saw too much. What did they see and why didn't they report anything? Okay, so this is what the young guy, we talked to him a couple times, even on a live. He was out there with his younger brother running the cattle. And what he said is that he heard noise, and when he looked across the field, this was his story. When he looked across the field, he saw things he shouldn't have seen. And then he told me that he saw guys get out of the car, and he said the car was parked in the grass. Well, somehow it got moved to the street, but he said it was parked in the grass. So I haven't seen anything of his statement, but that was his statement to me, that he saw guys drop the vehicle off and that they got in the other truck with the horse trailer behind it. So he was correct about the truck and the trailer. But that's normal. I mean, even the young kid, they had a truck and trailer because they bring their horses. They bring their horses to come rile up the cattle. Okay, here we go. Here we go. When you say Paul, you're talking about who? Paul Grice. Any discussions that you were a part of as far as how the ladies were supposed to be killed in that trailer? No. And if I understand your testimony, then the ladies are supposed to be dumped in the freezer closed, thrown in a hole, and buried? Answer. That was my understanding. And when you left the house, what were you driving? My half ton. Was there anyone in the vehicle with you? Cole. Okay. Where did the two of you go? Answer. To Paul's house. And why did you all go to Paul's house? Answer. So he could pick up one of Paul's pickups. Okay. So the plan was you're going to go to Paul's house, drop his off, and then he's supposed to take one of Paul's vehicles to Four Corners? Yes. Did you drop him off at Paul's house? Yes. Paul Grice's house we're talking about. Yes. Could you tell the court, we've talked about Tad Cullum's house. Would you tell the court where is Tad Cullum's house? Answer, south of 412. I believe it sits on 120. Okay. How many miles south approximately of 412? 6 maybe. Okay. And is it west or east of Four Corners? It's west. So if you're at Four Corners and you want to go to Tad Cullum's house, you basically would drive towards Boise City, drive west on 412. You go approximately 5 or 6 miles into Cimarron County, and then you would turn and you would go south a few miles. Yes. Where did Paul Grice live? Just west of Tad. Okay. How close? 8 of a mile. Okay. So basically the houses they lived in are really, really close to each other. Yes. So when you go to Paul Grice's house, you're really, really getting close to Mr. Cullum's house. Tad Cullum's house. Yes. When you go to Tad Cullum's house, then you're close to Paul Grice's house. Yes. Where is the Griggs community located at with regards to Tad Cullum's house? Answer, south and back to the west. Okay, 10, 12 miles. Okay, basically southwest, about 10 miles. Yes. So you get to Paul Grice's house. What do you do then? I drop Cole off. Then what did you do? I went to Elkhart. And what route did you take? I went to Four Corners and up Highway 95. Okay. And from Paul Grice's house, where did you go to first? How did you get to 412? I went by Tad's house and then back west. Okay, so you left Grice's, you went by Tad's house, you went north until you got to 412, went to the Four Corners, then you went up to 95? Yes. And when you got to Elkhart, what did you do? I just drove around. Okay, in order to get to Elkhart, did you go by the crime scene? Yes. Were there any other vehicles there at that time? No. So after you drove around a little bit there in Elkhart, what did you do next? Answer, I drive back south and found a spot along the highway that I could park and wait for Veronica to come by. Okay. Did you have your personal cell phone with you? No. Where did you leave it? At home. Okay. You have any weapons with you? I had my pistol. Okay. And what kind of firearm do you carry? A 9mm semi-automatic. Did you have the stun device with you? Yes. Where did you park off the highway of 95? Just on one of the dirt roads on the west side. I don't know what the number was. Okay, you mean one of the section line dirt roads? Yes. At this point in time, the best you recall, had you talked to anyone else on the cell phone, the burner phone? Not that I recall. Okay, at this point in time, Cole has one and the group with Tiffany has one. Yes. So Cole has a gun. Tiffany has one. Here we go. Sent to the plan, how many vehicles were supposed to be at the crime scene? Answer, just that were supposed to be there is just the pickup and the trailer and Veronica's car. Okay, so how was Tad Cullum, Tiffany Adams, and Paul Grice supposed to get to the crime scene? In Clint's flatbed. So if they have a burner phone inside the truck, it would allow basically all of you to be able to communicate. Yes. So you're sitting on the road, you're on the west side of the road, on a dirt road. What happens next? I see what I think Veronica's car come by and called Tiffany to make sure that that was the right car. Okay. What vehicles were you looking for? Answer, electric blue SUV. Okay. And what did you learn from Tiffany Adams? Answer, that was the right vehicle. Okay. And then what'd you do? She asked me if there was anybody else, and I told her there was a black pickup behind her, and as I pulled out behind them. Okay, so at this point in time, we have a blue vehicle. What direction is this blue vehicle traveling? Answer, south. And behind the blue vehicle is a black truck? Yes. What direction is it traveling? South. And then you're on Highway 95 also, and you're now traveling south? Yes. What happens next? Answer, Tiffany wanted me to make sure that it wasn't Veronica's, it wasn't law enforcement, or it wasn't Veronica's fiance. Okay. How did you? How were you supposed to do that? Answer, I was trying to tell her what the vehicle looked like. Okay. But I got close enough and it had Texas plates. Okay. Did you tell Tiffany that there were Texas plates? Yes. Okay. Then what happened next? Answer, then we got to the correction curve, and Veronica pulled off to the east, and I pulled off to the west of the highway. Or no, that's backwards. Veronica pulled off to the west, and I pulled off to the east side of the correction curve. Okay. When you say you pulled off, how did you pull off? Answer, I pulled off the dirt road. Okay. Just off the highway? Go in what direction? South, and then I turned back. Turn back west towards the highway. Okay. So Highway 95, when you cross over into the state of Oklahoma, it goes down the section line. Is that right? Yes. Then at some point in time, does that section line continue, but it becomes a dirt road? Yes. And then when you reach the next section line, it runs east and west. Is that also a dirt road, right? Yes. So basically, you went straight down 95, you got to a dirt road, and then you just drove a little bit further. Yes. Approximately how far? Eighth of a mile, maybe? Maybe an eighth of a mile. Yeah. Okay. And then what did you do? Then I turned back west on the east-west road, on the county dirt road. Yes. And how far down the county dirt road did you go down there first? Maybe the same eighth of a mile west. Okay. To the highway. And then that point in time, you're at the highway? Yes. And that's after the curve? Answer. That's on the blank. Well, I guess it's right in the middle of the curve, isn't it? Answer. It's the center of the curve, yeah. It's in the center of the curve. Now describe for us, what did Veronica Butler, what did she turn off on? Answer, a dirt road. Okay, and was it the same dirt road that you parked on? Answer, that I ended on? Yes, sir. Okay, so it's the same dirt road going west, it's just on the other side of 95? Yes. For the record, describe what the dirt road looks like. Well, it's a country dirt road that comes off the highway. And goes back straight back west. How far do you have to go on that road before you meet the next dirt road going south? Maybe the same eighth of a mile. Okay. And if you stay on that same dirt road going south, do you reach 95? Yes. How far do you have to go approximately before you reach 95? Maybe an eighth of a mile. Okay. Quarter of a mile at the most. Okay. So basically the crime scene was supposed to be west of 95. They're at the correction line. Yes. And when Veronica Butler turned and went west, she was going straight to where the crime scene was supposed to be at. Yes. Where was the trailer in Clint Twombly's truck? Where were they supposed to be parked at? Answer, on the north-south dirt road right off the highway there. Okay, north of Highway 95? Yeah. And the plan basically was Veronica Butler was going to basically drive up there to pick up her kids, right? Yes. And she was going to have to have her supervisor with her, Julian Kelly. Yes. And Tiffany Adams was going to lure them out of the car and into the trailer. Yes. And then Tad Collins and Paul Grice would kill them. Yes. So when you park there on the county road, the dirt road there, just east of 95, you're facing west towards Cimarron County. What did you see? I could see the trailer and the top of the trailer and the top of the car. Okay, what happened next? I saw two people running from the trailer towards the car, or from the direction of the trailer towards the direction of the car. Question. And when you saw those two people running, what were your thoughts? Answer. That things hadn't gone as they planned. Question. And how's that? Answer. Because they were supposed to be in the trailer. Question. So if they're not in the trailer and someone's chasing another person away from the trailer, then that's not what the plan was supposed to be. Answer. No. Question. Then what did you do? Answer. I drove across the highway and pulled up behind Veronica's car. Mr. Leach, Judge, may I approach the witness? The court, you may approach. Mr. Leach, thank you, Judge. Okay. Question. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State Exhibit 6 and ask you if you can look at it. If you look at our exhibit, and then Exhibit 6 gets approved by the other attorneys. Question. I'll begin by apologizing to you and telling you that it's not to scale. For illustration purposes, we've added a truck and trailer, and then we've added the blue truck. But whenever you get rid of those things, have you seen State's Exhibit 6 before? What it depicts? Yes. And again, I'll apologize about not being to scale. What I've handed you, there's a blue truck that's at the bottom of the State's Exhibit 6 where that blue truck is located at, is that where you parked at? Yes, sir. When you park there and you look towards the south and you see Veronica Butler's vehicle is located, approximately how far is it originally from Veronica Butler's vehicle to the back of the trailer? Answer, I don't know. Maybe a car length and a half. Question, okay, so for State's Exhibit 6 to be completely and totally accurate, would there need to be a little more distance between the trailer and Veronica Butler's car? Maybe a little bit. Question, and Veronica Butler's car would be which vehicle? Answer, the blue one with the door open. Question, and Clint Twombly's truck would be which vehicle? The one hooked up to the trailer. Question, and in State's Exhibit 6, is it vehicle that's located further to the north? I'm sorry, further towards the top? Yes. For purposes of just illustrating generally, there are vehicles were located at and where you parked at State's Exhibit 6. Is it accurate for that purpose? Yes. And then Buddy Leach asked the judge to admit it. Okay. It's all admitted, no objection. Okay, here we go. So you pull up, you park, and you are north of Veronica Butler's vehicle. When you looked out south, what did you see? Answer, I saw Paul, and who I assumed was Veronica, struggling on the ground. And at this point in time, do you see anyone else there at the crime scene? Not at this moment. Question, what did you do? I got out, went towards Paul. As you're walking towards, well, tell you what, as far as you said you saw Paul Grice and Veronica Butler, what you believe to be Veronica Butler at the time struggling, is that correct? Yes. Where were they at? Where were they located at? Between Veronica's car and the trailer. Okay, but you were able to see them? Yes. Does that mean that they were west of those vehicles, so they'd be in your line of sight? A little bit, yeah. Okay, so you get out of your vehicle, you're walking towards them. Is that correct? Yes. You're on the west side of Veronica's car? Yes. As you get closer to them, so say now you're right there next to Veronica Butler's car, what do you see at that time? Answer, Tiffany came from the vicinity of the trailer. Okay, so you see Tiffany Adams. Is this the first time that you've seen her? Yes. At this point in time, do you see Tad Cullum? No. Do you see Jillian Kelly? No. Do you hear anything at this time? Answer, Paul was asking for help. He needed help. Okay. Who was he talking to? Answer, me and Tiffany, or anybody. Okay. He didn't call out your names or Tiffany's name? No. So he just asking for help in general? Yes. What was he saying? He just said, I need some help. I need some help. Then what happened next? Tiffany handed me a cell phone and I handed her the taser. Okay. Answer, that was in my hoodie pocket. Okay. And what did you hand her? What? And why did you hand her the taser? Answer, I told her she could go help Paul. Question, okay. At various times, perhaps when you testified before to the officers, and we all discussed when you refer to the term taser, yeah, is that the same as a stun gun device? Yes. Can you describe that for the court? It looked like a flashlight. Okay, so it's a flashlight on one side, and it's also shocks somebody if you touch them with it. Yes, if you push the right button. Question, if you push the right button, okay, and as far as the stun gun device goes, all of you received the exact same type of stun device? Yes. So Paul needs help. He's asking for help. And you give your stun device to Tiffany? Yes. Adams? And she gives you a cell phone? Yes. To the plan, are you supposed to be to do with the cell phone? Answer, she had brought a metal animal can, but it says animal, but it's ammo can. Metal ammo can and tin foil, and I was supposed to wrap them up in the tin foil and put them in the ammo box. Okay, destroy them, wrap them in tin foil and put them in the ammo box. Okay, that's what your job was? Yes. So now you had one cell phone. What did you do next? Answer, I got in Veronica's car and got the other cell phone out of the console. Okay, so this is telling me that Tiffany had Jillian's cell phone, and that's what she gave to Cora when she took the stun gun. So somehow Tiffany got Jillian's cell phone when they were, her and Tad was doing whatever they was doing to Jillian at that point. Okay. What way did you travel in order to do that? And go back, straight back west? How far do you have to go on that road before you met the next road? Wait a minute. Am I reading the same shit? I am. Next page. We're good in there. Okay, answer. I had to go back north to get to the passenger side door of her car. Okay, so you were going to retrieve the other cell phone through the passenger side door? Yes. So you walk back north, and then what do? I got in the car and got the cell phone. Okay, so at this point in time, you have both of the cell phones? Yes. And then what did you do? I took them to the back of the flatbed on the driver's side and found a center block and destroyed them. Question. When you say flatbed truck, what truck are you talking about? Answer. Clint's, the one hooked to the trailer. Question. So as you're walking south, you're going towards Clint Twombly's truck. Do you go on the west side of the trailer or on the east side of the trailer? East side. At this point in time, have you glanced over, seen anything else with regard to Paul Grice and Veronica Butler? Answer. Just that they were on the ground. Question. Okay, so you retrieved the cell phones from the car. You have the cell phones. At that point in time, did you see Paul Grice on top of Veronica? Yes. And would you tell the court what did you actually see? Answer. I saw him on top of her on the ground and his arms going up and down. Okay, based on what you saw, did you believe was happening? Answer. I believed he was stabbing her. Question. But were you actually able to see the knife at the time? No. At this point in time, have you seen Tad Cullum yet? No. Have you seen Jillian Kelly there at the crime scene? No. To the plan was supposed to kill Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Answer. Tad Cullum. Who was supposed to kill Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly? Tad Cullum. Objection, Miss Squill. Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answer. The court sustained. Okay. At this point in time, where did you believe Jillian Kelly was at? Answer. Inside the trailer. Question. If I understand your testimony, then you've gone to the back of Clint Twombly's truck, you've gotten some type of center block, and you've attempted to destroy the phones. Is that correct? Yes. Then what did you do? Let me make sure I'm caught up here. Okay. They should have driven Veronica's car someplace else, then they wouldn't have known where it happened at. They are stupid. Yeah, but they were worried about the GPS that they thought that Veronica's car had on it. It's just so sad and infuriating how callous these people are. I agree. Okay, here we go. Okay, then what did you do? Then I took them back to my pickup that had been moved. Okay. Then I got the ammo can out, okay, and put them in there. Okay. Who moved your truck? Tiffany did. Where was the truck moved to? Answer. Next to on the east side of Veronica's car and a little bit to the front of it. Question. Okay. Answer. So between her car and the trailer? Mr. Leach. Okay, Judge. May I approach the witness? Yes, thank you, Judge. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 7. Again, just for demonstrative purposes, illustration purposes. Do you recognize where your truck's been moved to? Yes. And does it generally accurately reflect where your truck was moved to on March 30th? There at the crime scene? Yes. Again, there would probably have been more space to the north and more space to the south. Is that correct? Because the space between the trailer and the car, you said, was about a car length and a half. Yes. Okay, but as far as the general location, that would be correct. Yes? Yes. And they entered that exhibit. Question. So you smashed the phones. Now what do you do? Answer. I walk back to my pickup to get the can out and put them in the can. Where was the can located in your pickup? It was behind the passenger seat. As you walk back towards your pickup truck, what path did you take? Down the driver's side of the trailer to the passenger side of my pickup. Okay, so basically you're walking straight north. Yes. And you're on the east side of the trailer. Yes. So once you clear the trailer and you're approaching your truck, are you able to see anything with regard to the crime scene towards the west? No. Could you tell the court why? Answer. Because the trailer gate was open. Question, according to the original plan, was the trailer gate ever supposed to be open? No. They're at the crime scene? No. So when the trailer gate's open, it's blocked your view? Yes. What did you do next? Answer, I went to the pickup and put the phones in the ammo case. Okay. And where were the ammo case at? Behind the passenger side seat in my pickup. Okay, so you busted the phones. Is there anything else you're supposed to do with the phones before you put them in the ammo can? To wrap them in tinfoil. Okay. And did you do that? Yes. And then what did you do? Then I turned around to see what was going on. Okay. What did you do with the ammo can? I shut it and left it in the front seat. Question, of your truck? Answer, my pickup, yes. Okay, so whenever you turn to see what's going on, what direction are you facing? West. And would you tell the court what you see? Answer, the trailer gate was open and the freezer was at the back of the trailer and Paul and Tad were loading Veronica in the trailer. If you had the trailer, had the trailer been moved closer to Veronica at this time? Answer, yes. At some point it had been backed up. Question, do you have any idea who backed it up? Answer, no. Okay, I didn't see who backed it up, was the answer. Question, you said you turned to the west, but as far as you're looking, as far as the trailer, where was the trailer located with the regard to where you were located at? Answer, it would have been almost right in front of me. Okay, but I had to step around it, and the trailer was then to my left, to the south. Okay, trailer was to the south, yes. Okay, so at this point in time, you are north of the trailer and you're looking at the trailer. Yes. Okay, you describe to the court what you're looking at, what you see. I see the freezer and Tad and Paul loading Veronica in the trailer between the freezer and the side of the trailer. Okay, was the freezer rectangular shaped? Yes. And how was it set in the back of the trailer? Answer, where the open side of it would have been towards the front of the trailer. The hinges was towards the back. Okay, so basically it stretches, it's longwise. It's set in there longwise in the back of the trailer. It's sitting from side to side, not front to back. Yes. Okay, and where was the gap at between the side of the trailer and the freezer? Was it in the east side of the freezer or the west side of the freezer? West side of the freezer. Passenger side of the trailer. Okay, where was Tad Cullum located at? Inside the trailer. And where was Paul Grice located at? Outside of the trailer at the back. Okay, and what was Tad Cullum doing? Trying to pull Veronica in the trailer. And what was Paul Grice doing? Trying to lift her arms and her body into the trailer. Question, while you were there looking, did you see them? Were you able to see them completely and totally get her loaded onto the trailer? No. At this point in time, have you seen Jillian Gelly? No. With regards to the freezer, did you see anything under the freezer? 2 yellow ratchet straps. Question, have you ever seen those before? Not those specific ones. Okay, pursuant to the plan that you guys did anyone ever mention or talk about the use of straps? Not that I recall. And can you describe the straps for the court, please? They're 3 to 4 inch wide yellow ratchet straps. Okay. How many were there? 2. Where were they located at? Under the freezer. Okay. Were they like piled together? Were they stretched out? How are they? Stretched out. Okay. While you're seeing Veronica Butler and you're seeing Tad Cullum and you're seeing Paul Grice, you're seeing what they're doing. Do you see Tiffany Adams? No. Not right in front of me there. Okay. You don't know what she's doing at this very time? No. Okay. So what do you do next? Turn around. Question, and then what do you do? And then I went and got a shovel off the back of the flatbed because there was blood on the ground that Tiffany wanted covered up. Question, and how do you know Tiffany Adams wanted the blood covered up? When I turned around, she was there. Okay, so you're watching Tad Cullum, you're seeing Paul Grice, they're loading Veronica Butler, you see the freezer, you see the straps under the freezer, and whenever you turn, you see Tiffany Adams. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, and what was the discussion? I mean, what was Tiffany Adams saying at this point in time? She was upset because there was a lot of blood on the ground. Question. Okay, so the plan was there supposed to be blood on the ground? No. So what did you do? I went and got the shovel and I tried to throw dirt on it. Where was the shovel located? In the back of Clint's flatbed. Okay. What path did you take to the truck? Around the same way I took the cell phones. Okay. On the east side. Question. West side. I mean, east side of the trailer. East side of the trailer. So you go and you get the shovel. And then what do you do when you get the shovel? I went back and started putting dirt on the blood. Okay. What path did you take to bring the shovel back? Same one I took before. Okay. What do you see at the back of the trailer whenever you're coming back with a shovel? Nothing. The gate has been shut. Okay. And Paul Grice inside the trailer? Okay. When you come back, did you see Tad Collum? No. Did you see Tiffany Adams? Yes. What was Tiffany doing? She was looking at everything that happened. The blood, the trailer. Question. Okay. What happened next? Answer. He said he cut his finger and was asking for tape. And where was Paul located at? In the trailer. Okay. And so I got a roll of duct tape out from behind the driver's side of my pickup and handed it to Paul. Question. And how did you hand it to him? Through the slats in the side of the trailer. Okay. Can you describe where those are at on the trailer? Answer. At the top of my head if I'm standing on the ground. Okay. So basically there's some openings at the top of the trailer where a person can stick something through the trailer. Yes. Question. But those openings are at the top? They're not like in the middle or at the bottom? No. Okay. Did you hand him some duct tape? I did. And then what happened next? I finished putting dirt on the blood. The trailer pulled off. Tiffany reached in and shut Monica's car off because it was still running. I loaded the shovel in the back of the pickup and we got in and drove to her house. Question. Okay. When you were shoveling dirt on the blood there at the crime scene, did you notice if there was anything else in the puddle than blood? Answer. Floor dry had been put on the blood. Question. And what's floor dry? Answer. It's an absorbent that we use in the shop. Okay. When you first saw the blood, before you went to get the shovel, had there been any floor dry put on the blood? Nope, not that I saw. Did you see anyone put the floor dry on the blood? I did not. Did you see where the floor dry came from? I did not. So when Clint Twombly's truck pulls off with the trailer, what direction did they head? South. Okay, so the plan that the direction they're supposed to go? Yes. Then what did you do? Tiffany and I got in my pickup and I took her to her house. Okay, what route did you take? South down 95 to the blacktop that goes across the Keys? Okay, to her house. So you go south and then you turn on the blacktop heading west, yes. So while you're at Tiffany Adams, or while you and Tiffany Adams are traveling to her house, did you all visit and talk in the vehicle? A little bit. What was discussed? Just that things hadn't gone the way she planned and that there was a lot of blood. And then, right before we got to her house and we pulled up to her house, she asked if I would go down to where they were, where Tad and Paul were headed, and keep them calmed down. Question. Okay, and we're talking about the burial site? Yes. Why was she worried about them? Answer. I guess she thought they were, I don't know, freaked out about the blood? Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be all that blood, was there? No. So did you drop Tiffany Adams off at her house? I did. What did you do next? I went home. What route did you take? West to 71, then south to East 27, which is the dirt road that goes by my house, and then back east. Okay. When Tiffany asked you if you would go to the burial site and watch the guys and make sure they're not freaking out too much or whatever, is it you were supposed to do? Did you tell her you would do that? Yes. Did you actually do that? No. When you arrived at your house, was there anyone there that you can recall? No. What did you do next? I went in and changed my clothes, put them in a bag. The first thing I did was call my daughter to see where she was at on my personal cell phone. Okay. She was doing chores, and then I change my clothes. Put all my clothes in a bag. Question. And what did you do with them? I stuck them under the floorboard in my closet. Question. Why? Answer. In case I'd gotten something on them. Question. Okay. What did you do next? Answer. I went to find Cole and see where he was at. Question. And if I remember right, when Cole finished at the burial site, he was supposed to be taking Clint Twombly's truck and trailer and drive them to your house. Is that correct? Yes. Question. In your own mind, how long did you think that would probably take? Answer. 40 minutes, maybe an hour. Question. Okay. Had it taken longer than that? Answer. I don't know for sure. Question. Okay. So when you left the house, what was the purpose in leaving the house? Answer. To see where he was at. Okay. See if he needed my help with anything. Okay. What vehicle were you traveling in? My half-ton Chevy. What happened next? I met him on the road. Okay. What was he driving? He was driving Clint's flatbed. Okay. He had unhooked the trailer. Question. Where had the trailer been unhooked at? Answer. At their farm. Question. Whose farm? Answer. The Twombly farm. Okay. When we talk about the Twombly farm, what's the Twombly farm? Answer. Barns and shop. Livestock. Question. Okay. And the livestock at the farm, who does it belong to? Cole and I. The farm, Frank, Clint, my daughter, everybody has some there. Okay. Who owns the farm? It's held in a corporation and the Twombly family members own it. I gotta take a drink, guys. Are you guys still with me? It is sad. It's very infuriating. Hey, Journey. Very sad, very infuriating. Okay. Okay. And that's where the trailer was left at. Yes. Was there any plan with regard to what to do with the trailer originally? Answer. Not that I was aware of. No. Any plan as far as cleaning up the blood in the trailer? Answer. No. What did you and Cole do next? Answer. We parked Clint's flatbed at some leased grass that we had. Okay. How close is the leased grass that you all had to the farm? About 3 miles. Okay. And how far is the leased grass from your house? 5 miles. Okay. So basically, the Twombly farm, the leased grass that you referred to, and your house, it's all right there in the Grice community. Yes. The leased grass, does it have water and power? Yes. So when you got to the house, you and Cole were at the house. Did Cole start doing something at that point in time? Yes. He started gathering clothes. Sweats, shirt, shoes. Why was he gathering clothes? Answer. Because he said Paul and Dad didn't have any. Question. What was your response? Miss Weber, objection. Spousal privilege. Question. What was your response? Miss Weber, objection. The court, sustain. The objection will be sustained. Mr. Leach says, I'm sorry, Judge. Judge, I'm just asking her what she said, not what Mr. Twombly said. The court, well, the statute 12 describes communication as confidential for the purpose of this section if it is made privately by any person to the person's spouse that is not intended for disclosure to any other person. So I'm going to sustain that objection. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we almost have reached 12:30 and they're taking a recess till 1:30. Okay, then they come back from after lunch. And Mr. Leach, you are recognized to continue your direct examination. Thank you, Judge. Okay, Miss Twombly, did you or Cole Twombly, either one, ever take any clothes back to the burial site for Paul Grice and Tad Gollum? No. At some point in time, did you find some items in the back of your truck that hadn't been there before? Answer. There were some things on the back of Clint's pickup when we got it back that hadn't been there before. Okay, and what were those items? Answer. Bag of floor dry and a claw hammer. Question. And what did you do with them? Answer. Put them in the back of the half-ton, and then when we got home, switched them over to one of the flatbeds there at the house. Okay. And why were you moving them around? Answer. Because they had come from the crime scene. Okay. In the end, what did you do with those items? We took them and question. When you say we, who took them? Cole and I. Okay. And the 2 burner phones that we had. So Cole, Twombly, and yourself, yes, okay. The floor dry and the hammer and the 2 burner phones that we had and dropped them in an incinerator at the place where our stepson was living. The floor dry and the hammer and the 2 burner phones that we had and dropped them in the incinerator at the place where our stepson was living. Okay. And who's your stepson? Answer, Frank Twombly. Okay. Was that also in the Griggs area? Yeah. Could you describe the incinerator? What did you ever look down the incinerator? No. Question. Have you ever seen the incinerator before? Answer. Just what was above ground. Okay. Who actually dropped the items in the incinerator? Cole did. Question. Ultimately, did you all go out to the Easter pageant in Kenton? Answer. Cole and I and my daughter and her friend went. Clint and his brother came separately. Okay. And then Paul and his wife, his family, Lacey and their family, were all in the Easter pageant? Question. And what day was it that you guys went out there? Answer. That Saturday. Question. On the 30th? Yes. And while you're out there, did anything unusual happen? Answer. The everybody's phones went off with the alerts that the 2 women were missing. Question. Okay. Next day would be Easter Sunday. Yes, sir. And did you see your daughter on Easter Sunday? I did. And did she know that you and your group had killed Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly? Answer. She figured it out when she saw the posts on Facebook. Question. Okay. And she had seen the alerts on the phone. Is that right? Yes. What was her reaction? She was worried. She was scared. Did you give her any instruction as what she should say or do if law enforcement asked her any questions? Answer. I told her that she didn't have to answer any questions and that if anybody asked that, Cole and I had been to the big house. Was your daughter upset? Yes. What was she the most upset about? Answer. That Jillian had been killed because she had a family. Question. Did she find out that she was also a pastor's wife? Yes. Did you try to explain to her? The best I could. How did you try to justify the death of Jillian Kelly? I just told her that Tiffany had said she knew those kids were being abused as well. Did she ask you what had happened to the bodies? She asked me if they were in a well or somewhere. Okay. How did you respond? I told her to get her to quit asking questions. I said something like that. Okay. Answer, and left it at that. Okay. You've heard your daughter's statement that she made to law enforcement. Is that correct? Yes. Question. Is there anything with regard to the statement that she lied about? Answer. Other than not intentionally, no. Different words. Question. She words things a little differently than you? Yeah. Okay. Skipping ahead. At this point in time, you and Cole have a problem. You've got a horse trailer full of blood. The horse trailer that belongs to Tiffany. Yes. Question. What did you all decide to do about it? Answer. We had some leased grass that was off the road from anything else, so we decided to take it down there to get it cleaned out. Question. And that's the leased grass you talked about earlier that had power and water, right? No, sir. A different leased grass? Yes, sir. Okay. The one where we parked the pickup was not the one where we parked the trailer. Question. Was there someone else that was going to help you clean the trailer? Answer. Paul was supposed to help clean the trailer. Question. Okay. What were they going to use to clean the trailer? A pressure washer. Question. Where were they going to get a pressure washer from? Paul borrowed it from Barrett and Lacey Cook. Oh, okay. And ultimately, was the trailer cleaned? Yes. Who cleaned it? Paul and Cole did. With that power washer? Yes. When they were done at the very and last resting place, where was the trailer left at? At the Twombly farm. Where was it put at there at the farm? That's not where Paul and Cole left it, I guess. That's where Cole and I left it. Okay. It got moved around a little bit? Yes. And at the very end, where was it left at? There at the farm? Yes. Where law enforcement found it at? Yes. On April 3rd, 2024, did your daughter go to her brother's house? Yes. Where is that located at? Carrick, Texas. Did you find out about it? Yes. How did you find out about it? Lacey and Paul's wife, Lachey, had been to New Mexico to pick up some chickens, and when they came back through Carrick, they came that direction. They stopped by and said that there was the Dallam County Sheriff and black SUV at my son's house. Question, okay. And was that a concern for you? It was. Question, it was a concern for you and Cole? Both, right? Yes. Question, law enforcement officers are visiting with your daughter, and she knows everything. How is that a problem for you guys? Answer, because because they were questioning my daughter. Question, okay, what did you and Cole do? Answer, we drove down there to my son's house. Okay. Were you both armed? Yes. What was your purpose? Answer, I was going to get my daughter. Question, okay, short version. Ultimately, what happened? Answer, short version. They questioned her and then sent her with her dad. Question, okay. What do you and Cole do? Answer, we left so we didn't cause any issues. You're welcome for reading it. Okay. We left so it didn't cause any issues. Okay. Did you visit and talk to anyone? Did you visit with or talk to anyone as far as the codependents with regard to this encounter in Carrick, Texas? Answer, when we left there, I called Tad because I knew he had found somebody for his daughter just to see if he knew. You know, what kind, if right I had as far as getting her, bringing her home or whatever. What did you tell Tad? Just that they were questioning my daughter and I didn't know if I could go just get her. Question, okay, what advice did he give you? Answer, he said she's your daughter. Go back and get her. Question, okay, at this point in time, does Tad call him know what your daughter knows? No. On the following Wednesday, did you and your subgroup meet? Yes, we did. When I say subgroup, I understand I'm talking about you, Cole Twombly, Tiffany Adams, Ted Collin, and Paul Grice. Yes. Where did you all meet? We were at Barrett Lacey's for supper. Okay. We met in the driveway. Okay, so the big group is there and you're all meeting together. Yes. And then at some point in time, did the subgroup, the 5 of you, break off from that group and visit and talk? Yes. We're at in the driveway. At that point in time, did you tell everybody? Answer, the OSBI had taken my daughter, and that's all I know. Question, okay, and did you tell everybody what your daughter knew? Answer, most of it, yeah. That she had asked questions and I'd answered them. Okay, so at this point in time, they knew that your daughter was a threat. Yes. So she knew everybody involved and she knew what they'd done. Yes. Was there any kind of plan? Answer, as for my daughter? Yes, ma'am. What group's thoughts? Okay. We were probably in trouble. I don't know. Question, okay. Hope for the best? I guess. After the murders and before the arrest, or before your arrest, did you have any conversations with Paul Grice? Yes. Question, approximately how many conversations did you have? 4 or 5. Okay, did you learn things from Paul Grice that you didn't know before? Yes. Would you tell the court what you learned? Answer, I learned that there had been a hammer used that broke. I also learned that while he was in the trailer, Miss Kelly had come to and tried to defend herself, and he had killed her in the trailer on the way to the burial site. Question, okay. Did you have additional conversations with Tad Collin between the time of the murders and the time of the arrest? Couple. Okay, what were the nature of those conversations? Answer, the same thing. The hammer. There had been a broken hammer that I didn't know was there. Question, okay. Was he upset because it was left at the crime scene? Answer, I think everybody was. But yeah. Question, and did you even know there was a hammer at the crime scene? No. Question, what conversations did you have with Tiffany Adams between the time of the murders and the time of the arrest? The same with everybody else. Question, okay. We hope my daughter's statement that she was young enough, her statement wouldn't be able to be used. Question, did y'all visit about what happened to Veronica Butler's cell phone and what happened to Jillian Kelly's cell phone? Answer, I had asked her what she did with them, and she was building a fence at the time, and she told me they were buried at the bottom of a post hole. Mr. Leach, Judge, when I approach, anyway, you may, and entered that as evidence. Question, I'm handing you what's been marked as State Exhibit 8. I'm going to ask you if you can recognize what's depicted in the photograph. Answer, it's a blue car. Do you recognize it? Yes. Where have you seen it before? It's Veronica's. And is that the vehicle that was at the crime scene? Yes. In the photographs of the crime scene, that door's open on the driver's side. Is that correct? Yes. Question, but when you all left the scene, was the door open or closed? Answer, it was closed. Question, to the best that you can recognize, has that, the photograph of the vehicle, does it accurately the photograph, has it been altered or changed in any fashion as far as what you can tell? Not that I can tell. Thank you. Is there any objections? Everybody said it's okay. Okay. I'm going to hand you in what's marked as Exhibit 9. Do you recognize what this is? Yes. It's a photograph. Answer, Clint's flatbed truck that we used. Okay. And that was the truck that you borrowed that was used to pull the trailer that had the dead bodies in it? Yes. Does that photograph accurately fit that vehicle? Yes. And that was entered. Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10. Can you tell the court what's there? The back of the flatbed. When you say the flatbed, you're talking about Clint's truck, right? Thanks, Hawkeyes. Thanks, everybody. We're not going to read all of them tonight, but I'm going to try to get you to a good spot. Let's see here. What time are we even at? I've been sitting. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? I've been talking for 2 hours and 17 minutes? What the fudge? Okay, I'll try to go faster. Jesus. Wow. Time flies. Okay. Paul borrowed it from Barrett Lace. Wait a minute. What the heck? We already went over that. Okay. Twombly's vehicle. Okay. Yes. And there are center blocks in the back of the truck? Yes. The center blocks that you used to destroy the cell phones through is still in the back of the truck? No. What did you do with it? I threw it out on the leased grass. Okay. Then that's entered into the stuff. And now I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 11. Do you recognize what's in the photograph? You're welcome very much. Yes. And what's the photograph? My half-ton Chevy. And is that the half-ton Chevy that you have testified to that you utilized to go up to Yucatan, Kansas on February 28th, and you also used on March 30th to travel to the crime scene? Yes. Does the photograph accurately depict your vehicle? Yes. Okay. Question. I'm going to hand you what's marked State's Exhibit 12. Do you recognize? Yes. Photograph, the back of the 91 half-ton Chevy. That's the back of your truck? Yes. Okay. Does it accurately reflect your photograph? Yes. Entered. Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 13. Do you recognize the photograph? Yes. And what's in the photograph? The white stock trailer. And is that the white stock trailer that was the crime scene? Yes. That's the one that had the freezer in it? Yes. That's one that Veronica Butler and Jillian were put in? Yes. When they were dead? Yes. Do you recognize where it's parked at in the photograph? I'm not clear. There's not enough pictures. Okay. It doesn't look like your farm. Question mark? Could be. Okay. Does it accurately reflect there? Yes. Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been marked States Exhibit 14. Do you recognize what's... Yes. Okay. The inside, do you know what this is? The inside, I assume, of that trailer. Yes, ma'am. Stock trailer. Uh-huh. And this is after it's been cleaned out. Yes. Does it actually reflect what it looks like? Yes. Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State Exhibit 15. Do you recognize what's in this picture? Yes. What is it? It's a hoodie. Okay. Do you know whose hoodie it is? I assume it's Cole's. Okay. Is it in your truck? Yes. And do you know where the hoodie came from? Yes. Where did it come from? From David Straight's seminar. Okay. It has the slogans and stuff that basically come from his education process as far as his political beliefs. Yes. Does it actually reflect here? Yes. Okay, and then that's entered. I'm going to hand you what's been marked States Exhibit 16. Do you recognize what's in the picture? Yes. What is it? The back of that hoodie. Okay. And again, is this the information on the back of it? This information that basically comes from the state nationalist organization? Yes. David Straight? Uh-huh. And do you know where they got the hoodies at? I know where Cole got his, yes. Where did Cole get his at? From the David Straight seminar that he went to. Okay. And that was a seminar from where? Canadian, Texas. Okay. When he and Paul Grice went down there. When did they go down there? No, him and Frank did. That's right. Him and Frank went down there. Mr. Leach, Judge, the state would like to move to admit this. Okay, then it gets submitted. Okay. Now we're into cross-examination by Miss Weber. Miss Weber is Cole's attorney. Okay, here we go. I get it. Let's see here. Let me go over you guys' stuff. Oh gosh, so much stuff's on here. Okay. This is hard. It's hard. Okay. I don't know if I could read this at all, let alone 2 hours. I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're doing it. I'm glad you're reading these. It's good to have a refresher. Thank you, Rock. You're welcome. I keep thinking about those ladies fighting back with all they had. I hope Paul Grice's fingers and hand are so messed up. He is reminded every single day of what he did. You know what really bothers me is that nobody tried to stop this. I mean, Cora didn't even try to stop it. Even when it came down, you know how people talk shit, and she said that she hoped that Tiffany wouldn't follow through with it, right? But you know, when it came down to it, how was Cora able to follow through with it, right? She said that she hoped that Tiffany wouldn't be able to follow through with it, but when it came down to the last minute, Cora didn't try to stop it either. So, this is crazy. Okay, we're at cross-examination for Cora by Miss Weber. Question, Cora, you testified about carrying a sidearm on you at all times. Answer. I don't always have mine on me, but I usually have one with me. Question. Okay, and that Cole also carries one? Yes. And more often than not, he has one on him? Yes. So it wouldn't be surprising if he had that on him when you went to Texas to retrieve your daughter? Nope. Okay, and it wouldn't be unusual that he had that sidearm on him when the state asked you about being at the cook's home? No, he would have it on him. Okay, and Tiffany's home? Yeah. Okay, you testified about meetings with 4 of you, and that you and Paul, Tad, and Tiffany. Yes, ma'am. Question, Cole was not part of those meetings, was he? Answer, not the first ones, no. Question, in fact, he wasn't part of them until Wednesday prior to the incident, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and the reason for that is he drinks a lot, doesn't he? He can, yeah. Okay, and when he drinks a lot, does he talk a lot? He can, yes. Okay, and that's the reason y'all didn't want him involved? That's the reason Tiffany didn't want him there. Yes. Okay. Would he drink on Sundays when you all were together? Sometimes. Drink on Wednesdays when you were together? Sometimes. It wouldn't be strange if he was drinking on the Wednesday that you're saying you all met with Cole there? No? What was his drink of choice? R&R. How much would he drink? Depends on the day. On the average, what would you say he drank? How much he drank? On the average, 2 or 3 drinks a night. Question. Cole was pretty busy working your guys' farms, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And working the cattle? Yes, ma'am. And during this time of year, he was probably pretty distracted working on the cattle on the farm? Yes, ma'am. When you talked to Cole, was he ever distracted thinking about the farm or the cattle? Yes, ma'am. Has it been occasion in your 9 years of marriage that you talked to him and he doesn't recall what you said? Yes, ma'am. When the 4 of you were having meetings in one of the vehicles at either your property or the cook's property, where was Cole? Usually visiting with everyone else. So he might have not recognized that you all 4 walked away and had a conversation. Not necessarily. Question. Let's talk about vehicles you and Cole owned. You have the 91 you were telling us about. Yes, ma'am. The truck that you borrowed from Clint. Was there any other vehicles you have? We have a 98 Chevy. What color is it? White. It doesn't have global positioning satellite on it, does it? No. Is there a reason you chose not to use that truck? Answer. Because the door doesn't shut. Question. The day of the murder, that morning, you say you drove Cole to Paul's home. Is that correct? Yes. And then you left. Yes. So you don't know what Cole did after he got out of your truck. No, I'm not there. And you were at the scene where the 2 women were murdered. You were paying attention to what Paul was doing, correct? Yes. You were paying attention to what Tiffany was doing. Yes. You were paying attention to what Tad was doing. Yes. And you were doing what you were supposed to be doing. Yes. So you have no idea if Cole was anywhere near there. No. And how long did you say the incident probably took place? Was it 45 minutes? Answer. From when are you talking? Question. From the time that you were at the scene. Uh-huh. Until you saw Cole later. Yeah, probably somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. I don't know. Somewhere in there. Question. It couldn't be strange for Cole to be somewhere you have no idea where he is for 45 minutes to an hour, would it? No. And you didn't see him that entire time? No. And then you testified you saw him on the road? Yes. And he was driving Clint's truck? Yes. Not strange for him to be driving Clint's truck, right? No. And then the trailer was not attached to the truck, was it? No. So you didn't see the trailer at the time, did you? No. When you testified to seeing the trailer that was not at your farm, was it? Later you testified that the DA asked you about when you saw the trailer and it was at your farm. Yes. When you talked about it, you said it was the lease property. How far is that from your farm? 8 miles probably. Okay, so you couldn't have seen the trailer that was at the farm from the lease property. No. And you couldn't see the lease property from your farm. Answer. Oh, that lease property, yes, I can see the farm from the lease property. Okay, and that's where the trailer was, and that's a different lease property? Answer. The lease property that you're referring to is where we left the pickup. Okay, how close is that to your farm? 3 miles. And you could have seen Clint's truck from your farm. You could have seen Clint's truck from your farm. Yes, but not the trailer. Depending on where it's parked. Maybe, maybe not. When you were driving before the murder happened, and you're driving the car and you're testified that you called Tiffany after you came behind Veronica's car, you called Tiffany, and that is the only person that you called? Answer. Until after we left, yes. And then Miss Weber says, may I have a moment? The court says, take your time. Okay. Counsel for Twombly. Then we're done. Cross-examination. This is Tad's attorney, Miss Skull. Good afternoon, Miss Twombly. Good afternoon. Okay. So per your testimony, and Tiffany Adams pretty much grew up together, correct? Well, we've known each other a long time, yeah. But you weren't necessarily friends when you were in high school, correct? No. When did your friendship start really forming with Miss Adams? After Cole and I got married, I guess sometime. Okay. And what year did you and Cole get married? 2015. Uh-huh. And back in 2015, was Miss Adams dating Mr. Coleman? I believe so. Okay. But per your testimony, the meeting of the group didn't begin happening until after COVID. Is that correct? Correct. So would you guys, being you and Cole, get together with Tiffany Adams and Dad Colin socially? Before that? Yes. No. Okay. What about Paul Grice? No. So you guys didn't meet socially until after COVID. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. I'm sure you've heard of the term God misfits, correct? Yes. You kind of snickered at that. Is that what you referred to yourself as? As a joke, yes. Okay. Why was that? Because Cole made the comment one night that none of us really fit in anywhere else, so we're just God's misfits. Question. And that's something that you coined for yourselves as a joke? Yes. Question. You weren't any part of an affiliation with any other or a national group called God's Misfits? No. Okay. Going to David straight, you said that you had attended his seminar more than one time. Is that right? Yes. Okay. And that was, I believe you said, your husband and his brother. Is that right? No. Okay. Who was? Who was it that went besides you and Cole? Answer. Cole and Frank went to the first one. Paul and his wife, Lachey, and I went to the second one. And then Cole and I and Paul and Lachey and Barrett and Lacey went to one other together. Question. Fair to say that Miss Cullum never attended those seminars? No. What about Miss Adams? Did she ever go to any of those seminars? No. To your knowledge, did Mr. Cullum or Miss Adams, for that matter, ever try to become a sovereign citizen or state nationalist? No. And I believe you said it's a process to go from being United States citizen to being a state nationalist. Is that correct? Yes. Is there paperwork involved? Yes. Do you have to file it in the courthouse? Yes. You don't have to file it through the court? No. Question. How long does it take to become a state nationalist? Answer. At least 8 months. Question. And did the Cooks ever become state nationalists to your knowledge? Not completely, no. Okay, what about the Grices? Not completely, no. What about you and Cole? No. When you say not completely, did Paul Grice start or initiate the process to become a state nationalist? Yes. Okay. What about the Cooks? Yes. You had mentioned that Kenny Bob, his wife, and Josh. Who is Josh to Kenny Bob? His brother. Did they attend any of the seminars for David Strait? No. Did they try to become state nationalists? No. Okay, and my question to you is, what is the benefit to becoming a state nationalist? Answer, the benefit, question mark. Question, yes. Answer, less government regulation. Question, is there, obviously you're well aware of the United States Constitution, correct? Yes, ma'am. Do the state nationalists have their own constitution? No, ma'am. Okay, you testified that you guys couldn't really find a church that you all liked, so you kind of decided, let's get together on Sundays and Wednesdays, let's worship and eat and commune. Is that correct? Yes. Is that a fair assessment of what you would generally go on? Yes, ma'am. And the people that attend those meetings outside of you, Mr. Twombly, Paul Grice, Tad Cullum, Tiffany Adams, was Lacey and Barrett Cook, correct? Yes. And who else? Paul's wife. Okay, Lachey. Yes. Okay. Answer. Kenny, Bob, and Josh. Kenny, Bob's wife, Paul's cousin. Brad, Clint, Frank, Chloe, and then the kids. And when you would meet on Sundays and Wednesdays, did you consider it to be a peaceful time amongst yourselves? Yes. Okay. When people attend these meetings, were they armed? Typically. Okay. And I kind of want to talk about that. In Texas County and Cimarron County, is it unusual for citizens who reside here to carry firearms? No. Question. Pretty typical, would you say? Yes. Question. Okay. You testified that back in about 2022, that's when you started becoming closer to Tiffany Adams. Is that correct? Answer. Somewhat in there, yeah. Okay. And you testified that your stepson Frank and her son Wrangler Rickman were good friends. Is that correct? No. Question. No. Okay. Tell me where I'm wrong on that. My stepson Vern. Question. Vern. Answer. And her son Wrangler had been friends. Question. And I believe that you shared in the fact that both of your sons were dealing with addiction. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Furthermore, wasn't there discussions per your testimony about Tiffany's grandchildren? Yes. And that they were brutally abused. Is that correct? Yes. In fact, they were sexually abused more than one time, correct? To my understanding, yes, ma'am. And did you know about that before this case came about? Yes. Okay, and you've had time to look at all the discovery that's been provided to your counsel. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. And in it included is evidence in there of the sexual abuse, is it not? Ooh. Yes. And you testified that your daughter would often babysit Tiffany's grandchildren, correct? Not often, but she did babysit, yes. Okay. And how old were the grandchildren? 6 and 8, I believe. Okay. Answer. 5 and 7, or 6 and 8. And then how old was your daughter at the time? 15? 15? Uh-huh. And you said that she was aware that they were being sexually abused, correct? Yes. Okay, did she, without telling me what she did, say how she became to know that? Answer. She had heard us talk. Question. Okay, just overhearing things? Yes. Okay, and were you aware that the perpetrator in these sexual abuse against these children was a part of Veronica Butler's family? Yes, ma'am. Question. Okay. It was a brother, correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay, fair to say that. If you know, isn't it true that Miss Adams went through the court system to try to get some help to protect these children? Yes, ma'am. And was she successful at that? No, ma'am. To your knowledge, did Miss Adams go to the police and report to law enforcement the sexual abuse? Answer. I believe so, but I'm not positive. Question. Okay, and you're also aware that information was turned over to the district attorney of the District 1 to file charges, and charges were declined. Answer. I believe so, yeah. Question. So at this point, going into 2024, Miss Adams, to your knowledge, has tried to get help through the court system, has went to law enforcement, and has reached out to try and get aid for these children, and has been denied the access to that aid. Is that correct? To my knowledge, yes, ma'am. Okay. And Mr. Cullum, was he assisting her in trying to litigate the matters in civil courtroom? Yes, ma'am. Based on your observation, Miss Twombly, did the fact that these children were not being protected affect Miss Adams, Mr. Cullum? Yes. Okay. That's where you thought she was lying? Okay. Ooh, I lost my spot. Okay. A, affect them, question mark. Question, emotionally? Answer, absolutely. Okay. Did you ever see Mr. Cullum upset about that for those facts? Absolutely. Okay. And the same with Miss Adams? Yes, ma'am. In fact, did you share in their frustration and their emotions? Yes. Question. And I believe you even said that you and Miss Adams would have conversations once or twice a week about the grandchildren. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And that was outside the meeting of Wednesdays and Sundays? Yes. Okay. You have mentioned that you said that your daughter observed the behavior of the grandchildren. Do you recall testifying to that earlier this morning? Yes. What observations do you know, if you know, what your daughter observed? The same as the rest of us. They were emotionally up and down, mad one minute, happy the next. I don't know if they shared with her what happened or not for sure. But yeah, most of it was their mood swings and their demeanor. Question. And fair to say that you observed that yourself, correct? Yes, ma'am. And are those also your observations of the children's behavior? Yes, ma'am. Now, how often would you see, were the grandchildren there on Wednesdays and Sundays? Most Wednesdays and most Sundays, yes. So fair to say you saw them at least once, probably twice a week? Yes, ma'am. Hey, Harriet. You testified earlier that Miss Adams said that she wanted to get rid of Veronica Butler. Do you recall that? Yes, ma'am. And you testified that you took it to mean that she wanted her dead. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Did Tiffany ever come out and say, I want to kill Veronica Butler and I want Veronica Butler dead? Not that I recall. Question. Mr. Leach asked you after you had this conversation, sometime after August 2023, he asked, or you basically said you didn't call the cops, right? Right. Why didn't you call the cops? Answer. Honestly, I hoped she wouldn't go through with it. Question. Okay. You mentioned earlier that Tiffany Adams had finance wrangler. Tell us what that meant. Answer. Paid for his attorneys, took care of his kids, all of it. And question. And during 2023, your knowledge was Wrangler Rickman sober? No. Question. So if he's not sober, is Miss Adams then the caretaker of the children? Yes. And that I believe you said that you, your husband Tad, Paul, and the cooks went, was that out to Tiffany's house? Yes. Okay. And that's when Wrangler Rickman had law enforcement to try to get the kids. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Question. Okay. And I believe you testified that everybody was armed, plus there was extra guns. Yes, ma'am. Question. Why did you guys, or speaking for yourself only, why did you feel the need to have firearms, or extra firearms, I should say? Answer. I didn't bring any extra firearms, just that one that I usually carry. Question. Okay. Fair to say that you felt the need to be there in order to protect these grandchildren? Yeah. Question. Did you feel that Wrangler Rickman was a danger to these children? Yeah. You said he was with his girlfriend at the time. Do you never recall her name? No. Question. No. Okay. To your knowledge, did Mr. Rickman try to take the kids again from Miss Adams? Answer. Not to my knowledge, no. Question. So let's fast forward to, I believe you say February of 2024, that Tiffany had come to you and said, we've got to do something about Veronica Butler. And your response was, we need to do whatever we need to do to keep the kids safe. Do you recall saying that? Yes. Okay. Why didn't you think that the children were safe with Veronica Butler? Answer. Because they were being abused. Question. Was it your understanding that Miss Butler was allowing the abuse to continue? Yes, ma'am. Question. You said that you've known Paul Grice since he was a child, correct? Yes, ma'am. And that you were close to one of his sisters in high school? Yes, ma'am. And that you knew Tad Cullum in high school? Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Prior to 2022, were you close to Paul Grice? No. I hadn't seen Paul in a few years. Question. What about Tad Cullum? Hadn't seen him in a few years either. Question. And the cooks? Nope. Just met him. Mr. Leach had asked you about if anyone had any options other than to kill Veronica Butler, and you testified that, well, let me ask you this. I mean, did you think of any other options other than having her killed? Answer, other than going back to court and nobody could afford it? Question, do you feel that court is a proper place to work these kind of situations? Can be. Question, fair to say that that's what you desired, correct? Yes. Okay. Fair to say that going through court civilly is a very expensive process? Yes, ma'am. And if you know how long had Miss Adams and Mr. Cullen been litigating with regards to the grandchildren? At least 4 years. I think more than that, but I'm not sure. Question. When they were not in litigation, was Tad Cullen, did he Work for a living? Yes. What did he do? He ran a farm and ran cows. Okay. Question. And I believe you even described Miss Cullum in your interview that he's such a nice guy. He'd given you the shirt right off his back. Is that right? Yes. What about Miss Adams? Did she work the same? She ran farm and some cows. Question. And that's also what you and Miss Twombly, you also had a farm, correct? Yes, ma'am. What about Paul Grice? He worked for his cousin. Okay. Doing what if you know? Cattle work, farm work, farm work. All right. Okay. So I was just going to label this plan one, the Anvil Vice plan. Okay. I believe you said that was Miss Adams that came up with the idea. Is that correct? Answer to my knowledge, yes. And did she come to you with that idea herself or was it a group? Answer, I honestly don't remember. Okay. So if correct me if I'm wrong. The plan was four of you and Miss Cullum to drive to Hugoton, where she lived, and get in front of her and for Miss Cullum to throw an anvil or a vice out of the back of the truck into her windshield? Yes. Okay, and I believe you testified that Miss Adams wanted you guys to practice and she left. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Question. Mr. Collins didn't practice, did he? No, ma'am. Okay, did you practice? No, ma'am. Okay, did you ever think that that was likely situation to occur? No, ma'am. Why is that? Answer. Maybe I didn't know if it would or not, but I had hoped it wouldn't. Question. Did Tad ever tell you, gosh, I hope this works? No, ma'am. Okay, did he have any problem with this plan one? I don't know. Okay, and what was while you and Miss Cullen were doing this, what was Tiffany doing? What was her role in the plan? She was supposed to let us know when Veronica left and where she was going. Question. Fair to say that Miss Adams is the one that keep a coming up with the plans and having you guys do the dirty work? Seemed that way. Okay. You said that you were clearing trees. Was that on your property? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and Mr. Cullum came over there same day, correct? Yes, ma'am. Was Paul Grice there? If he was, he had been there earlier and left, but I don't know. Okay, go ahead. I don't know for sure if he was there that day or not. Okay. Did Mr. Cullum help you clear trees that day? Yes. Okay. So that was essentially the reason for people coming over is to assist in clearing the trees? Yes, ma'am. You said Tiffany Adams bought burner phones, correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Was that her idea to get burner phones? Or was that your idea? No, that was my idea. Okay. And what was the purpose of buying burner phones? Answer. Because she didn't know how we were going to communicate without talking on or without taking our phones. Okay. And how many, if you know, did you buy? I know there were three. Three? When you were on Veronica Butler's birthday on February 28, 2024, did you actually go into Kansas, you and Mr. Cullum? Yes. Okay. Who was driving? I was. And at that point, did Mr. Cullum ever get in the back of the truck? No. Stayed in the cab part? Yes, ma'am. So I believe you testified that the new plan was, we'll call this plan two, was constructed. Who came up with plan number two? Answer. I don't know who came up with it. Question. Who told you about the plan two? Tiffany. So my understanding of plan number two is it has to be on a Saturday because that's when visitation would take place, correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And I believe you testified that the plan number two was kind of concocted maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to it being executed. Is that correct? I believe so, yeah. And how many times did you talk to Tiffany about plan number two? I don't know, 4 or 5. And how many times did you talk to Paul Grice about plan number two? About the same. We were usually all together when we talked about it. What about Mr. Cullum? The same. Same. So, did you ever have any like one-on-one with Miss Adams with regard to this plan? Not that I can recall specifically. What about Mr. Grice? No. So, anytime that plan number two was discussed, it was done as a group? Yes, ma'am. Was it always done with all 5 people or all 4 people being there? And I'm going to make sure I get this on record, meaning you, Tiffany Adams, Paul Grice, Jack Collin, correct? Yes. To the best of my recollection, we were all there. And when you would have those conversations, where would you have them? Answer, usually in somebody's vehicle in the driveway. Okay. Or away from everybody else. So it would be the four of you in one vehicle? Yes. And the vehicles, are they all pickups or some cars? Both. Okay. And did you always sit in the same position in the vehicle? No, not necessarily. Okay. Whose idea is it to get a flatbed and a trailer? I don't know. Who told you to go be a lookout, Tiffany? Who told you to get your half-ton Chevy truck, Tiffany? Presenting States Exhibit 13. Can you see that? Okay, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Okay, this is a trailer that we're talking about, correct? Yes, ma'am. Called a hot shot. Is that what we call a gooseneck trailer? Yes, ma'am. Are these unique around here or common? They're pretty common. Okay. Do you have one of these or something similar to that? Yeah, we have a stock trailer. Okay, stock trailer, not a hot shot. What about Tiffany Adams? Did she have a trailer like this? Yes. What about Paul Grice? Yes. Does Tad Cullum have a trailer like this? Yes. So a lot of people around here have these. Is that it's not uncommon? Yes, ma'am. And while we're still State Exhibit 13, and there's two openings to get in that trailer, correct? Yes, ma'am. One being the back, is that correct? Yes. Yes, ma'am. And then one being in at the side. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Is there another door on the other side? No. Just one door? Yes, ma'am. And then how does, referring to the State Exhibit 14, how does that gate open? Does it open like this or to the side? To the side. So you've got one that swings out or two that swing out. One. Okay. So your testimony, Miss Adams, was her job was to get Miss Butler and whoever was accompanying her in the trailer and for Mr. Cullum and Mr. Grice to kill them, right? Yes. Okay. That's my understanding. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you about the tasers or the stun guns. Who purchased those, Tiffany? Whose idea was that? I have no idea. Were you given instructions as to what to do with the stun gun? Just to have it. Question, just to have it? In case we needed it. Question, okay, did you ever hear any instructions to anybody else about the tasers or the stun gun? No. Question, the freezer that we talked about. Isn't it true that Tiffany said that she had a freezer? Answer, she said she was going to put the freezer in there. I assumed it was hers. Okay. And whose idea was it, if you know, was the freezer? I don't know. Okay. And you said that Tiffany had told you that she wanted to let me, I just want to make sure I understand her. She told you that they're going to be put in the freezer, right? Yes. What did I miss here? I think, let me see here. Sorry, I get to reading and I just happened to look up. Okay. Did they ask who was with them during the animal plan? Yes. Yes. Who all was with them? Yeah. And they still say that Cole wasn't with them. I think so. It was Tad, Tiffany, Cora, and Paul. Yep. Not Cole. Yep. Okay. I hope they all get prison for life. That's just awful. It is awful. Believe me, it is awful. I agree with you. Okay. Okay. But you don't, if that was necessarily her plan or someone else's idea, no. Going to the burial site, you said that you had been there once before. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. And was that the purpose of you being there? What was the purpose of you being there? Tad had some bulls got out on a neighbor, and Cole and I went and pinned them and dropped them off in the pasture for him. Okay. Is it common to lease land for your cattle to graze out here? Yes, ma'am. At some point, you testified that the plan had changed, that there was a need for a fifth person. Do you recall saying that? Yes, ma'am. Who said that? I believe Tiffany told me that. Okay. And fair to say, up to this point, you haven't involved your husband. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Was it you who went to Cole and said, hey, we need your help? Objection. Miss Weber objects. Spousal privilege. The court abstain. Miss Will. Is there, why not ask Bear or Lacey Cook? Answer, because they weren't involved. Question. And when you say, what do you mean they're not involved? Answer. I mean, they didn't know what was going on. Question. But they were aware of the sexual abuse of the children, right? Yes. But they weren't involved in the subgroup of the state calls it? Right. Okay, so Mr. Leach asked you about when you become aware that Jillian Kelly will be accompanying Veronica Butler. Do you recall him asking that? Yes, ma'am. And that was the day before, correct? Yes, ma'am. Did you know anything about Miss Kelly at that point? No, not specifically. Okay, to your knowledge, did anybody know anything about her? No. Showing what has already been admitted as State's Exhibit 7. Do you recall that picture? Yes, ma'am. And if you look at the top, I guess that would be north? No, ma'am. Okay, may I approach the witness, Your Honor? You may. Miss School, can you indicate which way is north on this photograph? North would be this direction. This direction? Okay. So that would be the correct north, east, southwest. Yes, ma'am. Okay. There was a highway that crosses that way, correct? No, ma'am. Or a state road, something? There's a county road to the north. The highway is to the east. Oh, okay. And what was the name of the road that you were traveling south on? 95. 95. That's Blacktop Road, correct? Yes, ma'am. Fair to say, listen, I'm going to say every blacktop they're calling Blacktop Road down there. Because it's like the third spot that I've heard called Blacktop Road. Okay. 95. And that's a Blacktop Road, correct? Yes, ma'am. Fair to say where you are, where you can see Miss Butler's vehicle, that you can see traffic coming and going along the road? Yes, ma'am. To your knowledge, going back to the day, was there light traffic, heavy traffic? Light traffic. Is that typical for weekends versus weekdays? I don't know. I don't travel that road a lot. So you testified that the day before March 29th, early in the morning, that you, Tiffany, Paul, and Tad went to the site marked State Exhibit 7. Is this correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Whose idea was it to go out here? Tad's. Okay, and I believe you even said he had a lot of problems with this, correct? Yes. Did anybody listen to him? Did anybody listen to him? Apparently not. Okay, fair to say, Miss Cullum and Miss Adams had been in a romantic relationship for several years. Is that a fair statement? To my knowledge, yes. And you had the opportunity to observe the relationship. Is that fair? Yes, ma'am. Okay, does Mr. Cullum tend to listen to Miss Adams? Typically. Okay, is that generally true of people around Miss Adams? They tend to listen to her? Typically. She's a leader of some sort, correct? That's the kind of personality that she has? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and I believe you testified that Mr. Paul Grice and Mr. Cullum had said that don't bring firearms because they can be traced. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Did they both say that? One say that? Or do you know? I don't know for sure. Okay. But on that day, you were wearing a firearm, correct? I had one with me, yeah. And Paul Grice had a firearm? Did he not? Yes, ma'am. Did you see anybody else with a firearm that day? Not that I recall. And you testified about gloves. About there were no specific conversation about everybody wearing gloves. Do you recall that? Yes, I recall that statement. Was everybody wearing gloves or some people were wearing gloves? I believe everybody was wearing gloves. I can't be positive though. What kind of gloves was everybody wearing? Cotton gloves? Why cotton? Because that's what we had. Okay. To your knowledge, the people that were wearing gloves, were they all cotton gloves? As far as I'm aware of, yeah. And Mr. Leach had inquired about how everybody was kind of dressed similarly about in hoodie and hats. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Is that going back to the day that morning? Do you recall what the temperature was? It was cool. Is that what you would normally typically wear on a morning, such as when the temperature is cool, as that was? Yes, ma'am. Is that what you guys would generally wear anyway? Yes, ma'am. So that morning you were well aware of the fact that two women were going to die. Yes, ma'am. And I believe you said that we all had a problem with it, but that was the plan. Yes, ma'am. Was there any specifically that would directing you guys to do certain things? What do you mean? Well, you all meet up first. Where do you meet up first? Where did the five of you meet? That day? Yeah, that day. That day the five of us weren't back together until supper. Question. So the night before you were all together, right? Or the day before? On Friday? Yes. On Friday morning it was just the four of us. Okay, I apologize. I meant the four of you. Yes. I mean yourself, Tiffany Adams, Paul Grice, and Ted Cullen. Yes. Okay. So what about the morning? Were the four of you together that morning? Saturday morning? Question. Yes. No. Question. Okay. Did you receive a phone call from anybody that morning? Not that I can recall. No. So how did you know what time to leave your house? Answer. Because we talked about it the day before. Okay. Did anybody tell you, hey, you need to be out of your house by this time and be at this place at this time? Not specifically, just that when she was supposed to meet with them. Okay, when you say, when Veronica was supposed to be there. Okay, and who had communication with Tiffany? Tiffany communicated with Veronica Butler, correct? Yes. Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, you were supposed to follow Veronica's car to the spot, correct? Yes, ma'am. And that Tiffany's job was to lure them in the trailer. Yes, ma'am. Do you know how she was going to go about that? She was going to tell them the kids had something in there they wanted to show her. Okay, to your knowledge, do you know if she had a conversation with Veronica Butler that morning? Answer, I assume she did, but I wasn't there for it. Question, you testified that you assumed that the hole was dug the day before the murder, correct? Yes. You don't know that for a fact, do you? No. So at some point, you see Veronica Butler's car and you get behind her and eventually you pull off, correct? Yes, ma'am. Once you pull off the road, what do you do? Wait? You just wait in your car? Yes. And what do you do while you're waiting? Walking across the road. Okay. Did you have a clear sight across the road? Decent, yeah. Okay, describe what you saw from your car. Answer, I could see Veronica's car and the pickup trailer. And then I saw somebody running, two people running from the direction of the trailer to the direction of the car. Question, do you know who those two people were? I do now, yes. Who were they? Paul and Veronica. Okay. And you saw Paul over Veronica with stabbing motions, is that correct? Yes. Did you ever see Jillian Kelly? I did not. And fair to say, did you see Tad Cullum doing anything? Walking. Okay. That's all I ever saw him do. Question. Fair to say that you were more focused on Paul, what was going on with Paul and Veronica? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And what's going through your mind while all of this is happening? Lots of things. But what are you in regards to what? Well, I'm asking the question, at what point do you get out of your car? Answer. At what point? Is that what you said? Yes. After I pulled across the road, after I had saw two people running, I pulled across the road and got out of my pickup. Okay. And did you get out of your pickup because you saw what was going on with Paul? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And then you got out of your car. What to do? What? Do next? What? I go over to Paul and Veronica. Where Paul and Veronica are. Do you hear anything when you get out of the car? All I recall hearing is Paul asking for help. Okay. That's all I recall. And is he just saying it? Is he screaming it? How is it? He's screaming it. Oh, okay. And do you go over and help Paul? No. Does anybody go over and help Paul? I went over and Tiffany was coming to where I was. I took the phone and handed her the flashlight taser and told her to go help Paul. And do you know if she went to help Paul? I assume she did. Okay. And so after that, is that when you go and destroy the phones? After I get the other phone out of the car, yes. And going back to when you went to Miss Butler's car, were the doors opened or closed? Closed. Okay. The vehicle was on, correct? Yes, ma'am. Was there, how did you know that their phones were in the car? I didn't until I got in the car. Okay, did anybody tell you to go to the car? No. And did you find phones in the car? Correct? One. One. And you said you went through the passenger side? Yes, ma'am. And it was in the console? Yes, ma'am. Okay. At some point, did you hand Paul tape? Yes, ma'am. I can easily lose my glasses, my way, my mind, and my temper, but losing 5 pounds seems impossible. I get it. Okay, we're almost gonna quit for the day. Let's see. Let me see how much more is left. Of course. Oh, there's actually still quite a bit left. Of course. I'm gonna try to do it fast. Okay, let me get a good old drink here. Okay. Okay, may I approach the witness? Yes, Miss School. Showing you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 13, could you show us where you were? I was on the other side of the trailer. You're on the opposite side? About where the thumb's at? Where my thumb is. Yeah. And is Paul inside the trailer? Yes, ma'am. And then do you hand him the tape through the slits in the top? Yes. Okay, thank you. Did you see Paul get into the trailer? No. At some point you saw, I believe it was Tad, was in the trailer pulling up Veronica, and Paul Grice was outside of the trailer helping lift. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So did you hand Paul the tape after that? After you saw that? Yes. Okay. Do you recall if the gate was open or closed at that time? Closed. Because that would explain why you had to do it over the slits, right? Yes, ma'am. Do you recall seeing who, if anybody, closed that trailer? I don't recall. I don't know who closed the trailer. You said that you could see the freezer from where you were standing outside of the trailer, correct? 1 point, yes, yeah. Okay, may I approach the witness again, Your Honor? Yes. I'm showing you what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit 14. Can you point out where you were at, where you saw the freezer? Right there. So on the left side of the trailer? Yes, ma'am. And if you were to look at the freezer where it opens, like, where are you going to pull it open? Uh-huh. And if you were to look at a freezer where it opens, like you're going to pull it open. Uh-huh. Okay. Is that the way it was, or was it the side? No, it was set east and west, but it opened to the front of the trailer. Okay. Thank you. Was the freezer door, was it open or closed? Closed. Had you ever seen the freezer before? No. Okay. Is it unusual for people to have extra freezers in the garage or on the land? No. Okay. If you know, what's the lifespan of a freezer or a deep freeze? Answer: one that's being used to, like it's supposed to be, anywhere from 5 to 20 years. Question: the fact of the matter is that at some point they're going to go kaput. Yes, ma'am. And if you know, how do you dispose of a freezer? Answer: you either use it for something or throw it in a pit, usually. Okay. Answer: because nobody will dispose of them. Question: is it unusual for people to have freezers that don't work on their land, just stored somewhere? No. So at some point, did you notice the blood on the ground? Yes, ma'am. Okay, did you point it out to anybody, or did anybody point it out to you? Tiffany pointed it out to me. Question: and I believe you said you went and got the shovel off the flatbed. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Did you put the shovel on there? No, ma'am. Okay, do you know who did? No, but a lot of people carry a shovel in the back of their pickup. Okay, and I believe you said that did you put dirt over the blood? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and what was Tiffany doing while you were doing that? Answer: looking around to see what else needed done or what else was there. Okay, question: did you ever get your tape back from Paul Grice? No. Did you see the trailer leave? Yes, ma'am. And was left after, did it turn left after the trailer left? And who was left after the trailer left? Tiffany and myself. Okay. And I believe that's when you got into your pickup truck, correct? Yes, ma'am. And you drove her back to her house? Yes, ma'am. And I believe you said that there was a conversation from Tiffany that it didn't go as planned? Yes, ma'am. So you dropped Tiffany off at her house, correct? Yes, ma'am. And then you go to your house. Is that right? Yes. First of all, how long does it take you to drive from the crime scene to Tiffany's house? Answer, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe. Okay. Was there a lot of talking between you and her on the way to Tiffany's house in 10 to 15 minutes? Not particularly. I mean, just that things didn't go as planned and there was a lot of blood. Question, okay, when you get home and you called your daughter, correct? Yes, ma'am. And you said you called her with your phone and not the burner phone? Yes, ma'am. And where was your daughter at? She was doing chores. Doing chores. And she was with a friend, correct? Doing chores? Yes, ma'am. Where is she? The farm doing chores? Yes, ma'am. Okay. How far away is the farm from your house? About 6 miles. And that you change clothes and then you put them in a bag and put them under your floorboard in your closet, correct? Yes, ma'am. And then you talk about the Twombly farm that's held in a corporation for the Twombly's family members. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. And you are included in that? No. Okay, your daughter? No. Okay, you said you found some floor dry and a claw hammer in the back of the flatbed, correct? Yes, ma'am. So floor dry, tell us what that means and what it's used for. It absorbs spills in a shop to put on oil spills. Okay. Was that an unusual thing to see? No. I mean, go ahead. We didn't have any, but it was not an unusual product to have. Okay, question. And talk of the claw hammer. Do you know how that got to be there? No. Okay. So at some point you dispose of the floor dry with everything else. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So the floor dry and the claw hammer, the burner phones were dropped in the incinerator hole, correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So your daughter, 15 at the time, that this all was happening, correct? Or is she 16? Answer, she's 16. And your daughter aware of the plan number one and plan number two? And I know you testified, well, didn't testify. Well, under oath, your interview, you said you don't lie to your child. Is that right? Answer, I try not to. Okay, what were you thinking about telling her this stuff? Answer, honestly, I told her as little as possible just so she would quit asking questions. Fair to say that it's probably had an impact on her life? Yes. And you said she went to her brother's house, right? Yes. Clinton, is that right? Yes, ma'am. And is Clinton your son? Yes. Okay. Are they pretty close? Yes, ma'am. And how old is Clinton? 22. Okay. And to your knowledge, was Clinton aware of any of these things that were happening? No, ma'am. And do you know if your daughter told her brother anything before being questioned by law enforcement? Yes, she said she did. Okay. So you testified that you called Tad Cullum because you knew he had been involved in litigation regarding custody of his own child, right? Yes, ma'am. And that he told you to go get your daughter, right? Yes, ma'am. And I believe you testified at that time he didn't know or no one knew that your daughter knew anything. Is that right? Right. So we're going to go over to, I guess that was Saturday. So on Wednesday, y'all meet up. Is that right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And you have a conversation with Paul, right? Yes. How many conversations did you have with Paul Grice after the murder? Probably 4 or 5. Okay, and at some point, Paul told you he killed Jillian Kelly, didn't he? Yes, ma'am. Did that surprise you? Yes, ma'am. Did Paul seem, in your opinion, upset about his involvement in this? Yes. And have you watched his first Paul Grice's first interview? Just part of it. Okay. What about his second interview? No. You haven't seen it? No. Miss McGill. Okay, Your Honor, may I have a moment? Take your time. Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, now she's back. Couple of follow-up questions, Miss Twombly. Were you given the opportunity to observe the grandchildren after they had a visitation with their mom? Yes, ma'am. And would their demeanor be different? Yes, ma'am. How would it be different after they visited with mom? They were aggressive, mean, upset, not happy. Was it your understanding or belief that if something was done, that these children would be further victimized? If something wasn't done, these children would be further victimized? Yes, ma'am. Question, and I believe you had said you are basically getting a life suspended with the first 30 to do. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. And this is an exchange for testimony here today. Yes, ma'am. And at the jury trial. Yes. And I believe you said something to the effect of not the Stevens County DA in Kansas has agreed not to prosecute as part of this agreement. Yes, ma'am. And do you know what that would be for? No, not exactly. No. Okay. Is part of the agreement also to protect your daughter? Yes, ma'am. So she won't have to testify, correct? Yes. Okay, Miss Musco, may I have another moment, Your Honor? Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Leach, any redirect? Mr. Leach, yes, Judge. Just a few things. Mr. Leach is asking Cora now. The trip to Hugoton on February 28th to kill Veronica Butler, I mean, it was serious enough that y'all brought burner phones, right? Yes, sir. And you brought a vice, right? Yes, sir. If it's a joke, you're not bringing a vice, right? Right. It wasn't a joke, was it? No, sir. You said that you were asked a question, let's call it a leading question, and you may have said something to the effect that the freezer came from Tiffany, that it was her freezer. You don't know who the freezer came from, right? No. You don't know who owned the freezer. You don't know who provided the freezer. No. When you all were discussing and you're hearing the plan and everyone's talking, there's going to be a freezer. But did anyone say they were providing the freezer? No. There was nothing on it that said I belong to anybody? No. Okay. And what I'm needing here is just a clarification from you. Okay, if I remember your interview correctly, as far as your sworn interview, you were describing the firearms that everybody had at the scene. You described the firearm that Tad had. You described the firearm that you had. You also described the firearm that Cole was carrying the day, and you also described the firearms that Paul had. And you gave us specific descriptions with regard to kind of what kind of firearms they had, including your firearm. In fact, you had more than one, but that day you had a specific firearm. And if I also remember correctly, you didn't know if Tiffany and then Miss Muskel, Your Honor, I'm going to object to leading. The court will allow him to ask his question. Okay. What I'm needing to know today is if you testified that there were 2 firearms at the scene as opposed to 4 firearms, or at least 4 defendants having 4 firearms, I need to know which one it is. Okay. It was my understanding when he asked that question in my interview what each of us typically carried. Okay. Not specifically on that day. Question. Okay. So at the crime scene that day, it would be your testimony as far as the firearms that you actually saw. You saw Paul with his firearm and you had your firearm. Yes, sir. Okay. And earlier in the day when you left the house, did Cole have a firearm? Yes. At the scene, you don't know if Tad Cullum had a firearm or not. I do not. And would it be fair at the scene you didn't hardly see Tad Cullum, did you? Not hardly, no. Most of the time, he was in the trailer. Answer, somewhere. I didn't see him because I wasn't in the trailer. Question, okay, and when did you see him was in the trailer, pulling Veronica's body into the trailer? Yes. And there would have been no way for you to see if he had a firearm at that time or not. No. Did you see him walk the side of the truck and get in the truck as far as driving the truck away? No, sir. You talked about Tiffany and her leadership skills with regard to Tiffany and her personality. Did everybody like her? Answer, everybody in our group. Question, everybody in general? No. Question, okay. Answer, not everybody in general liked her. Question, okay. Were there basically 2 groups of people? Yes, sir. And what were those groups? Answer, the ones that liked her and the ones that hated her. Okay. The ones that hated her, they wouldn't follow her, would they? No. So she wasn't a leader of all people. No. Okay, so you saw no documents with regarding anything that told you that or that verified that and it says name, I'm not going to say it, had molested anyone. You didn't read anything, did you? Not before we were arrested, no. Okay, and what you read afterwards, it dealt with documents in Kansas, right? Do you even know where they were from? I don't. Okay, if there were documents in Kansas that dealt with, and it says name, and someone else in Kansas, would you even know them? Answer, would I know that they were Kansas documents, or would I question, would you know the substance of the documents? Answer, just what I read on them. Okay. And it was blank and somebody else, right? Yes. It wasn't the grandkids, was it? No. Would it shock you if I didn't file a case in this is Buddy Leach talking to Cora. Would it shock you if I didn't file a case in the state of Oklahoma on something that happened in Kansas? No. Blank is a juvenile. Or is he an adult? He's a juvenile, I believe. Okay. In the state of Kansas, he's a juvenile too, right? I assume. So if something were filed, that file would be sealed, wouldn't it? Yes, sir. Wouldn't be open to the public? No, sir. Question. No one would ever know. Okay. No, sir. You have no idea I declined anything, do you? Or declined anything, do you? No, sir. You have no idea if I filed anything, do you? No, sir. You told is about the visitation schedules as far as how it worked. We had supervised visitation, right? Yes, sir. For 10 hours a day on Saturday. Yes, sir. And that was it. That's what we're dealing with, right? Yes. And that was supervised. Yes. And that's what the court ordered. Yes, sir. And Tiffany Adams got to provide her own person to supervise it. Yes, sir. And they did that every Saturday unless someone got sick. Yes, sir. And Tiffany used Cheryl Brune, didn't she? Yes, sir. Okay. That's her person, right? Yes. Okay. So this goes on. This goes on, and this is how visitation is done. And Cheryl Brune, she is with Veronica Butler, and she is with the children, right? I assume so. And that's a person that Tiffany Adams trusts. I assume so. Okay. And 2 weeks before the 30th, Cheryl Brune was with those kids and with Veronica Butler, right? Because that's how they were doing it, right? As far as I know, yeah. Okay. And as long as Cheryl Brune is with those kids are safe, aren't they? I assume so. Okay. So every weekend she's with those kids are safe. I assume so. Right? On the 30th, Cheryl Brune wasn't with the kids, was she? No. Why? Because, question, Tiffany wanted to serve someone else up, right? I guess so. She didn't want Cheryl Brune killed, did she? I don't know what she was thinking. Okay. She didn't provide the supervisor. She didn't provide her supervisor, did she, on the 30th? No. So basically, the person that was served up to die, that person came from Veronica Butler. Yes. Tiffany could have used Cheryl Brune that day, right? Yes. So her person is with the child pursuant to the court order, and it's that time every weekend. That's how it is. Yes. Those kids were absolutely no danger whatsoever of being molested on that day. Objection. Ms. Gill objects, Your Honor. Asked and answered. The court sustained. Mr. Leach says, Judge, I'm sorry. What was the objection? The court says, asked and answered, and the court has heard the answer, and the objection was sustained. Mr. Leach says, okay. And the question was whether or not the children were in. My question was whether or not the children were in danger. The court heard the question and the answer. The court, okay. So if the children were not in any danger of being molested or abused, why did Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly have to die on the 30th? Answer. So that Veronica never had a chance to let them be abused, I guess. Question. Okay, if you follow that reasoning, then basically what you would do is we would take every sex offender in our country, we'd line them up on a wall, and we'd shoot them all. That is what you believe we should do? Well, you're not asking me, and I'm saying yeah. But okay, her answer is no. What's the distinction? Why not? Mr. Leach, Judge, I don't have any further questions. The court, thank you so much, Mr. Leach. Recross examination. Miss Weber's got a few more questions she wants to ask Cora, and that is Cole's attorney. Question, Cora, you mentioned on March 30th that Cole had a firearm with him that morning. Yes, ma'am. That would not be unusual, would it? No, ma'am. Miss Weber, thank you. The court, thank you. Miss Quill, within the scope. Recross examination. This is Tad's attorney, Miss Quill. Fair to say, based on your testimony today, that you saw Tad Cullum at the scene one time in the trailer. Is that correct? Mr. Leach, Judge, we're going to accept it's outside my cross or any direct. The court says, I believe it is, Miss Quill. And then she says, he did ask that on his redirect. The court asked your question again. No, I was saying that basically that Miss Twombly saw Mr. Cullum one time in the trailer. That was it. You'll be permitted to ask that question. One time in the trailer. Yes. Okay. And you said you've looked through all the discovery, correct? Most of it. Not all of it. May I approach, Your Honor? You may. Thank you. I'm handing you what's been Bait Step 2410. Do you recognize that? Mr. Leach, do you know what she's showing her? Mr. Leach, I have no idea, Judge. Judge, maybe approach the bench. The court. Well, it's a preliminary hearing. You don't really have to approach, but you may. You can approach. Mr. Leach, thank you. The court, in this declaration file, Mr. Leach, yes, Judge. We have a situation where I will tell the court, we have files that are sealed, so I can't talk about those files. When this allegation was brought to our office, I filed it. It was filed. I said it was filed, and it was filed. It went before a judge, and ultimately it was dismissed. I was not party to that. I was not involved. When I saw the allegations, I wanted to present it and have it go through the court system. I wanted to see what would happen. This does not represent what happened. She made the comment that I declined, but it was filed. And then that was the end of that. And then we go to Paul Grice. We're going to do that another day. We're going to go over Paul Grice another day. Okay, let me get to your comments here. Hey, girly girl. It's good to see ya. Let's see here. Okay. Hope they never see daylight. I agree. Okay, that's a lie. The cooks knew, and I think Paul's wife knew too. And not just that day afterwards. They all knew what was going on and what was going to happen. Did nothing to stop it. Clint knew as well. I agree. I think Clint knew as well too. I think all of them knew. I think damn near everybody in that group knew. I don't think it was something that just them five talked about. Okay. And let's see here. I agree. Flower daisies. Nina, okay. Okay. Me too, and the rest of me is pretty plump too. I hear ya. Age is getting me. I like food too, let me tell you. I made a pineapple upside down cake today. Pretty good too. I can easily lose my glasses, my way, my mind. I lose my glasses all the time. These damn readers. You know, I remember as a kid and I'd see my parents, you know, and my dad would say, oh, I can't see it. Bring me my glasses. I thought, what do you mean you can't see it? Now that I'm older and I have to have readers, I agree. I don't know about a great job, but we went over it. That's my favorite rock, yeah. We will, Thursday we'll go over Paul Grice's testimony. And we'll do it like we just did this. But many of you guys had not seen what was said in the preliminary hearing. And it's very interesting. Now, remember in Paul Grice's, he's going to tell us about how he met with OSBI. And he met with them the first time he was drunk. The second time, they had DNA evidence. And he fessed up to murdering Veronica and them. And OSBI told him they couldn't arrest him because they didn't have a warrant. Now, he's going to say that in his testimony. How in the hell does that work? I mean, my gosh, why wouldn't you just leave somebody with him and run to a judge? And if you had to have it in person signed, why wouldn't you Just drive to Guyman and get one signed. Why would you let somebody go that just told you they murdered 2 people? You got bounced out. That was weird. I'm back. My husband made a different shepherd's pie today with ground turkey stuffing and mashed sweet potatoes. It was amazing. Sounds good. Sounds amazing. So it'll be interesting. And if for some reason somebody can't make it Thursday, you can always rewatch it. And then we'll do a live. But my throat hurts and I'm done talking. Oh, I want to show you guys something else. Okay, so we've been talking about Houston. Oh, I thought I had it saved. Let me see here. Bayou. So I have not seen anything else on the Salisaw. As far as I know, there's still going to be the rally on November 5th. And still, at this moment, right now, I don't know if I'm going to go to Guyman or if I'm going to go to Stillwater. I am torn, and I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. So, I don't know. I guess come next Monday, either I'm going to be headed to Guyman or I'm going to be headed to Stillwater. Like I said, I'm not sure. Oh, this was something that I don't think I've ever shared, and I wanted to, like, I don't understand this, but we're going to show it. This was filed in Tiffany's paperwork, and it's a notice of registration requirement. She's never getting out. But anyway, this is in her paperwork. Violent Crime Offenders Registration Act. She has to register. So there was that. And then the update on this Houston thing. Listen, I've been to Houston a lot. This just scares the hell out of me, honestly. Scares the hell out of me.
Well, this next story is one that you will only see here on KHW11.
The family of a young man whose body was found in Buffalo Bayou last year is speaking exclusively with us after Houston police closed the case. Ugochi Aloka joined us live this morning. Ugochi, HPD says no foul play. What is the family saying?
Yeah, well, Jacob, that's right. Police say no foul play here. However, the family of Kenneth Cutting Jr. says they are not buying it. In fact, they say they are frustrated because they believe his case wasn't properly investigated. Now, Cutting's body was found in the Buffalo Bayou just 3 days after he went missing last July. Take a look at your screen. This is 22-year-old Kenneth Cutting Jr. His family says what's strange is the finding of what the ME's office calls medical hardware in Kenneth's neck. His family says he never had any surgeries. Now let's go back to Cutting's disappearance. After going to Pete's Piano Bar in July of 2024, his roommates reported there was an altercation inside their car. They say Kenneth jumped out at the Waco exit near I-10. After that, they say they never saw him again. Kenneth's body was found floating in the water more than a mile from the spot where he was last seen. HPD didn't rule it a homicide, cleared the roommates, and closed the case. His family says his case is like many of the others who have been found in the bodies across the city.
I think that it was a wash of the hands. They couldn't find evidence super quick. So at this point, they said, oh, sorry, it's just closed. Proper investigation wasn't done.
Very suspicious.
Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions there for the family. Still trying to get those questions answered over a year later. Now, coming up in the next half hour, so in just 30 minutes in our 6 a.m. report, you'll hear more from Kenneth's family and what was found in the medical examiner report on him. Reporting live along Buffalo Bayou, Ugochi Iloka.
Okay, and then there's so much. This is so much. I had something come across the phone over the weekend. Rock, I have known you to be scared. I haven't known you to be scared of anything. I thought loud. I'm not scared. I don't know which place I want to go. If if Tad and Cole do a plea, it don't serve a purpose to go to Guyman right now. And I'd rather go to Stillwater to that rally. But I still got your beer. I've got to come to Guyman at some point. I got your beer that Rick got you. So I've got to come at some point. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is all these sexual cases. Something come across my phone and there's some big group. There's like 30 sexual assault cases in Oklahoma schools. 30. That's a lot. And if you just even Google it, Oklahoma sexual assault, here's law enforcement investigating 2 sexual assault incidents at Cora public schools. Parents demand action after alleged molestation in Colorado. It's a problem. The sexual assault is a problem. Parents demand action after alleged molestation. I mean, and I'm sure it happens in Kansas too, but it's just a lot. It's a lot. What is going on? What is these parents doing? Are they not keeping control of their kids? See what's going on. It's just nuts. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. Much love to everybody. I will see you Thursday. I know you'll be waiting. Listen, I got the beer for you. What is this, the beer I got you? That Rick got you? I forgot the name of it. I know it's originally a Florida beer. Anyway, it's out in the garage. It's waiting on you. Anyway, these sexual abuse cases really bother me. And without saying names, when you have an agency, Children's Services, that do reports, okay, and they do I will tell you in the report I got, it says about a prior report, so it was right, okay. When you've got substantiated means they found it to be true, okay. When you get a substantiated report, when SRS or Department of Children's Services does it, and then the ball gets dropped because the custody battle's being, what does the custody battle have anything to do with the sexual assault? That's the first thing. Why was it not pursued in Kansas? And Buddy Leach is saying, I couldn't pursue it because it was a case in Kansas. When you're on a border like that, and it, some stuff's in Oklahoma, some stuff's in Kansas, how does that pass through? How does this pass through the system? And y'all think it's okay? I don't think it's okay. And so it says on there, substantiated, things you got to do, and then nothing's done. Absolutely nothing's done. And you know what's really sad is, I've never said this before, but the person that worked for Kansas is a relative of one of our family members here in Rock Talk to Crime. Okay. And that person says they tried. They couldn't get anybody to do anything, even after they did report. So they do the report, they put the substantiated on it, nothing ever gets done after that. Do they quit having these tendencies to sexually abuse? Doubt it. Anyway, before I get pissed off, I'm going to get off here because it really upsets me. It really upsets me, the fact that I really can't say exactly what I want to say. And I find it to be bullshit. With that said, I love you guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday. And we'll go over Paul Grice. Have a great week.
Called up the neighbors, warned the town. The rocket jump crew is messing around. They're chasing justice sharp and bright. Welcome to the fam, keep your truth in sight. Deb C's got receipts from 1882. Hacked the database with a can of glue. Hawkeye sees your blink from another state. Still found time to bake a cake. Nota's running, not from crime. She just forgot the noodles this time. Micah singing ballads to his cat. Solved the case just like that. Black opal, sneaky, mysterious style. Caught a liar through a bathroom tile. Christopher preaches and takes the stand. Turned water to coffee with just one hand. Mama lost it where the bones are hid. She just laughs and says, guess I'm part of the grid. Beach babies tanning with suspects in tow. Solves crime while surfing, justice on the go. We're rock, chalk, wild, weird and free. Breaking down lies, men waxing spree. Truth, drama, and twists for days. We solve cold cases in chaotic ways. Dance like a suspect caught on tape. Delightfully chaotic, got rage and style. She filed an FOI right from the mile. Lavender sweet till the plot gets thick. She solved the riddle with a selfie stick. Gail's got gossip, it's top secret grade. She got the case with a pink band-aid. Jane speeding through charts and maps on display. Racing for truth, she's blazing the way. Ostrich in boots with an attitude. Pecking the facts and serving the truth. Pete Young is composing the justice jam. With a mic in one hand and a jar of jam. Jezebel's casting spells in court. Summoned a witness in unicorn shorts. Beautiful holly case just glowing bright. She don't argue, she sparkles you right. Leroy snoozing with a solve file stack. He solved 5 cases and still took a nap. American honey, sugar, sass, and sting. Made the perp confess with a mood ring. Tiny Tots rides in on a scooter of doom. Throws glitter bombs right on target zoom. Girly girl's got a side eye that kills. She found the motive using puppy squeal skills. Rock Chalk Squad, we're a little crazy. We solve the puzzles and break the routine daily. We investigate, laugh, and keep spirits high. We're the funniest justice family, give us a try. Chaos, flare witness law, we're rock chalk, stand back in awe.